All right. Good evening. Welcome to the Joint Planning and Zoning Board and Board of Commissioners meeting of January the 6th, 2026. I am Briggs Simmons, the Planning and Zoning Chair. Wish everybody a Happy New Year and hope everybody had a prosperous holiday season. Prior to this meeting, announcements were posted and notices were sent to all board members, commissioners, staff, interested parties, and applicants participating in this meeting. I will now turn the meeting over to Dr. Ramona Jackson-Jones to introduce and confirm the presence of our commissioners. Madam Chair.
All right, thank you so much, Chairman. Again, Happy New Year's, everyone. I wanted to introduce our Board of Commissioners tonight. I'll start to my right is our Vice Chair and District 4 Commissioner Mark Alcarez, and beside him is District 1 Commissioner Henry Mitchell III. And beside him is District 2 Commissioner Whitney Kenner-Jones, and then District 3 Commissioner is Commissioner Martin Raxton. So we have a quorum tonight, Board of Commissioners, and if you don't have any remarks, I yield the floor back to the Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Also present, we have members of the Planning and Zoning Board. If you'd confirm your presence as I call your name. Rob Thomas, our Vice Chair, District 3.
Present.
Melissa Pope, District 4.
Present.
Oric Curry, District 2.
Present.
Brandon Penniman, District 1.
Present.
Frank Payne, our at-large member.
Present.
And Dr. Chris Small, our Douglas County School System representative.
Present.
Thank you very much. We have a quorum. Allison Duncan, our Planning and Zoning Manager, will now introduce the county staff, Planning and Zoning staff present. Ms. Duncan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight we have with us Mary Minter from the County Attorney's Office. We have our Deputy Director of Development Services, Travis McDonald. We have Bruce Mercer, he is our Traffic Operations Manager. We have our Director of Animal Services, Vanessa Fransikowski. We have our County Planner, Melody Glenn, our Zoning Administrator, Austin Cronin. We have our Clerk of the Planning and Zoning Board, Johanna Womack. And as always, we appreciate our communications team and we appreciate our Sheriff's deputies for being here as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's a reversionary clause that applies to each rezoning, and that is the applicant, the agent, or the property owner has 24 months to vest the variance zoning change as the Board of Commissioners grant the approval. As far as tonight's procedure go, I will conduct all the public hearing. Planning and zoning staff will announce each application, followed by a full presentation on that application. The applicant or their representative and members of the public in favor of a application will be able to present their information. We'll have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes. Members of the public in opposition to an application will also have time to present their information. They too will have 2 minutes per person and 15 minutes total allocated. After the opposition completes their input, or the time has elapsed, I will close the public hearing. At that point, the staff will clarify any points of the zoning case. If the staff is unable to satisfy the board's questions, the board will then ask the applicant for points of clarification. And this is not a time for the applicant to represent their case. Planning and Zoning Board will then entertain a motion. Our first agenda item tonight is approval of the minutes of our December the 2nd, 2025 regular Planning and Zoning and Board of Commissioners meeting. Planning and Zoning Board members, after reviewing the minutes, are there any comments, changes, or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion for approval.
This is Frank Payne. I recommend approval of the minutes for the December 2nd, 2025 meeting.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Rob Thomas, I second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes of December the 2nd, 2025, please signify by raising your hand. I will not vote because I wasn't present at that meeting. Thank you very much. Madam Chairman, the minutes of the December the 2nd, 2025 meeting come to you with a recommendation for approval.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've had an opportunity to review the minutes for December 2nd, 2025. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions that need to be made at this time? Being none, with that being said, do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion in 2 seconds. We have a motion in a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. And I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. At this point in time, I believe the planning and zoning staff has a couple of recommendations for us before we begin the next agenda item.
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We would like to ask the board's permission to propose a few changes to the agenda tonight, specifically for anybody who is here in regard to application S 2025-87. That was the application for the convenience store without fuel pumps on Highway 166. We'd like to announce that application has been withdrawn completely, so that will not be heard on the agenda. We also have 2 items that has asked to be deferred to the February 3rd meeting. So if it is the will of the board, we would like to ask for you to consider those 2 items in turn at the beginning of the meeting, so that anybody who is here for those agenda items does not necessarily have to stay through the entire meeting, though everybody is welcome to stay if they would like to. But so we would ask if the board would act on the deferral of those items if it is your will. If not, we will keep them in the order on which they are presented on the agenda. And then finally, once we get through that, I am going to ask that we move item S 2026-04 for Eric Jackson to the top of the agenda in recognition that we have staff from other departments that have other responsibilities in the county, and so we would like to have the ability for them to speak at the hearing as is needed and then go back to their normal duties. So with that being said, the first item that has asked for a deferral is S 2025-13. That is Big Power Developments 5 LLC. This is for a data center at the intersection of Rock House and Echo Road. The applicant is here if you have any specific questions, but staff is fine with their request for deferring to the February 3rd agenda. So we would ask if there is a motion to defer that item to the February 3rd agenda, that the board allow that to move forward at this time.
Do we need to do that now? Do we need to make sure everybody's in agreement to making these changes?
So again, I would ask for the chair to call for a motion to see what the motion would be, and if that motion is successful for deferral. If it is not, we will understand that it is not the will of the board for this to be deferred to February 3rd, and we will hear it tonight. Staff is ready to proceed if it is the will of the board to do so.
Do we need to do the other one at the same time?
I would take them one at a time.
One at a time. Okay,
Yes, please.
Planning and Zoning Board, do I have a motion to defer on S 2025-13 to the meeting of February the 3rd, 2026?
It's Rob Thomas. I'd like to make a motion to defer S 2025-13 to the February 3rd agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the deferment of S 2025-13 to February the 3rd, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chair, S 2025-13 comes to you with a unanimous recommendation for deferral until the February meeting, February 3rd.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to defer S 2025-13? Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to defer agenda item S 2025-13 to the February 3rd meeting.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Okay. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. And I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman.
All right.
Next item, Ms. Duckett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item that has asked for a deferral is item S 2026-07. That's for Lithia Investments, LLC. Again, the applicant is here, and we are prepared to move forward, but we also have no objection to deferring that to the February 3rd agenda. So if it is the will of the board, we would ask that S 2026-07 for Lithia Investments, LLC is deferred to the February 3rd regular meeting.
Thank you very much. Planning and Zoning Board, do I have a motion?
This is Melissa Polk. I'd like to make a motion to defer the agenda item Z2026-07 from Lithia Investments to our February 3rd meeting.
Or Curry, second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of deferring S 2026-07 to the February 3rd, 2026 meeting, signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chair, Z 2026-07 comes to the board with unanimous recommendation for deferral to February the 3rd, 2026.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to defer Z 2026-07?
So move, Madam Chair, to defer item Z 2026-07 to the meeting February 3rd, 2026.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. Please indicate by raising your right hand if you're in agreement. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to defer until February 3rd.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Madam Chairman.
All right, so thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think at this time, we are going to ask that the application for Eric Jackson be moved first on the agenda out of consideration for our staff that may have other responsibilities from other departments, but I don't know if we'd like to pause for a moment if anybody chooses to leave at this time. If you are not, if you were here for S 2025-07, for Raj Vardai on Highway 166, if you were here for S 2025-13, that was for the Big Power 5 LLC. And if you were here for the Z 2026-07 for Lithia Investments, those items will not be heard tonight. So if anybody would like to leave the meeting before we continue, I may suggest it's appropriate to give a moment for that to happen.
Yep, they're moving. Okay, that didn't take very long. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any objection to moving S 2026-04 to the top of the agenda? None? Okay, Madam Chairman, Planning and Zoning Board has no objection to moving S 2026-04 to the top of the agenda so that the staff can go back to their duties.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, do we have any objections to moving S 2026-04 to the top of the agenda? Okay, being none, thank you. Sounds like we all in agreement. We are okay with that. And I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Okay. All right. Ms. Glenn, you're
Good
presenting
evening.
this, huh?
This is agenda item S 2026-04. The applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow an agriculturally oriented use, including equestrian stables and trail riding, at 3305 Lake Monroe Drive. The property includes about 11 acres in Commission District 3. The parcel is in a residential neighborhood. The parcel includes a single-family house and accessory structures to support the animal use. The applicant proposes horseback trail riding lessons as an accessory use to the single-family home. These lessons include safety training and riding instructions on the private residential lot. Visitors as young as 7 years old are only allowed to book lessons for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. The applicant services no more than 6 persons at a time. Parking is available for visitors on the owner's private property. Here are a couple of images that the applicant submitted for the presentation. Here are the relevant code sections. There are no prior zoning actions for the lot. The agricultural home-based business was established before the owner entitled the property by requesting a special use permit. The current home is owner-occupied. There are 9 horses occupying the parcel. Here are the special use criteria analysis. Here's the zoning map. Here's the site aerial. Here's the site survey. Here's the future land use map and character area. It's in suburban living and traditional neighborhood. Staff is recommending approval based on the following findings. Staff is recommending approval with conditions based on the following findings. The proposed special use permit will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan. The proposed special use permit will not adversely affect the public health, safety, and welfare. The conditions read as follows. The applicant shall comply with the regulations enforced by the Department of Environmental Health within 30 days of approval. The applicant must obtain appropriate licensure from the Occupational Tax Department and the Department of Agriculture within 60 days of approval. The use is only valid for 12 months. Applicant must reapply for the special use by February the 1st, 2027. The applicant must coordinate with the building department to obtain compliance for any structures without a building permit. And lastly, the applicant shall provide information for access to the property that can be flagged in computer-aided dispatch for first responders. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Glenn. Excuse me. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone, including the applicant or the applicant's representative, wishing to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application can also approach the podium after this person. Mr. Jackson? If you'd state your name and address for the record, and then 2 minutes.
How's everybody doing?
Okay.
All right, Eric Jackson here. Address 3305 Lake Monroe Road, Douglasville, Georgia. 27 years of being an educator, and previous years of speaking to the media, playing football, I still get nervous speaking in front of people. That's crazy, isn't it? But hey guys, my name is Eric Jackson. We have a nice facility here in Douglasville. We actually want you guys to come on out also and take part, bring your family. It's a family-oriented place. Excuse me, it's a family-oriented place. We have trail rides for kids. We have kids, small, young as 3 years old there. Even my sons, age 9, 5, daughter 6. If you guys, I wish I could have had more pictures of them showing them actually riding themselves. I had a 91-year-old lady. I had a 91-year-old lady come out back in, I want to say June. She mounted the horse. She didn't ride, but she mounted the horse. Basically, we just an organization, man, that's family-oriented and want to teach people about horseback riding. We also have parties. We have birthday parties there. If you guys have any grandkids or anything, you guys can bring them on out and have a birthday party there for your grandkids and their friends also. If you guys come out, you will see the dynamics. My neighbors can tell you too. I see a lot of my neighbors back here too. They can tell you the dynamics of it and how it just put a joy on people's face. If you also go to social media, you can check us out too in their neighborhood, doing things in the neighborhood. Tractor Supply. How many times you see a horse in Tractor Supply? If you go to social media and type in sweetrose.com on Facebook, on Instagram or TikTok, you will see things like that. We engage in the community. My neighbors can also do a better job of telling you we give back to the community. I had a food drive. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a seat. We'll probably get back to you in a minute. Next person, please. State your name and address for the record, and then 2 minutes.
My name is Priscilla Arms. My address is 3412 Lake Monroe Road, along with 3498 Marjorie Lane. Mr. Jackson is amazing. I taught my grandchildren how to ride up that road. When we got rid of our horses, I haven't seen one back around. Rode with Ernest that used to do shoes downstairs. Well, no, on the same level. I've seen children there, and I stopped the first time I saw him riding. I was like, you're doing a great thing. This is amazing. Children do not know this anymore. This is what they need to know. They need to know that there's other things out there besides playing games and sitting in the house. They need to know what outside is. What he is giving back to the community is phenomenal. You could not ask for anything better than what he is doing. I have seen children there. I've seen a son ride. I've seen her ride. I've seen them. I see them all the time, and it's fabulous. You couldn't ask for anything better.
Thank you very much. Next person, name and address for the record, 2 minutes.
Good afternoon or evening. My name is Kurt Hare, and I'm at 3390 Lake Monroe. I'm actually across the street, his neighbor. And I would just like to say that what he has going on here with his business and his home is an asset to the community. I have over 30 years of federal emergency management experience with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, where I do community development, community restoration. And so I can tell you, as far as the impacts on our community, that dead-end street, he brings a little bit more than just being a neighbor. He's a good example of a small young family that's trying to make it in an honest way. I've noticed there's several teenagers in the neighborhood that comes by and help out, and that's a work ethic that they don't get anywhere else. Now he's an Alabama fan, so we have to look over that. and he's from North Alabama, and I'm from Lower Alabama, commonly known as LA to folks who live down there to the Gulf Coast. But that's what my wife and I looked for when we were moving. We was looking for something that was very similar to the rural area of Lower Alabama where we grew up. And the horses caught our eye coming in there in his yard. So I could judge a man from his yard, how he takes care of his surroundings. So I saw that it wasn't in any way revealing to be commercial, but it just looked like a well-kept lot. So that any increase in traffic from his business could only add to the folks leading into there, keeping up their place and whatnot. Outstanding neighbor, he's hard to find, and I think that it would be a disservice to the community to not award this permit.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Next, please, name and address for the record, sir.
Anthony Knight, 1233 Lambeth Way. I know Mr. Jackson from quite some years ago. I remember when he first bought that property with his son. Before he had the property, it was vacant for many, many years. It had two dilapidated buildings on it. One was torn down, and the other one was like somewhat like a barn. Then it also had like a rose garden or thing, a greenhouse type situation. All of that was dilapidated, and you could see it from the road. Since he's been there, he's rehabbed one of the buildings. He's also enclosed the pools for safety. He also has built many barns for the horses, and to bring a nicer look to the community, he's also addressed the issue with the curb appeal, with the gate, the fence. So I think that the value in property has increased because now you have a property that's being used, that's paying taxes, and beautified the neighborhood. So when you come down that way, you can see, he didn't show it there, but he's got a pretty gate and he's painted the fence. And also where we ride at, I've been there with my family riding, where you ride at, his house is somewhat in the center of that 11 acres and the barns are somewhat close to that. So his neighbors are probably on the backside, maybe a half mile away. And where we ride at in the trail, you go street side, then you go to the other side. So I would say the closest neighbor to him that could actually physically hear him would probably be maybe 2 football fields away. So I just want to know that, so as far as proximity to other people, it's, he beautified the neighborhood, he fixed up dilapidated properties, he's paying taxes on something that didn't get paid for taxes for many, many years. And where we at, we don't really disturb other people. Okay, like I said, it's 11 acres, so we use probably about 3 acres to do the farm, to do the riding. And the birthday parties are usually, he doesn't like the loud noise either, so he wants to get people out of there before it gets dark. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Could you state your name and address for the record?
Sabina Kelly, Box 536 in Winston. I think this is fantastic. It's exactly what Douglas County was when my family and I moved here in 2001. It was rural, lots of farms, lots of horses, and where I am off of 166 Post Road, we still have horses that ride up and down, and we have the trails and everything else. And I understand it's in a residential area. However, 11 acres isn't bothering anybody else in a residential area. You have an option to put a storage building there. You have an option to put townhomes there and big apartments or whatever. But I think this is going to be a benefit to this county and get us back on the right track instead of going down other roads. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Next person. Speaking in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
Ken Johnson, 3378 Lake Monroe Road. Eric is let's see how you'd say that. An upgrade for our neighborhood. Children are riding horses, not playing in games. They're out there learning how to react to other people and learning all that good stuff. I would do anything for him if he asked me. That's how good he is. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next person, please. You might need to pull the microphone down a little bit. There we go. If you just give us your name and address.
My name is Ezekiel Jackson, but most people call me Zeke. And we do trail rides, parties, and that's all.
Thank you, Nick. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? I'm glad you know how to bring it up. Name and address, please.
My name is Becky Holtzclaw Brown. I live at 3540 Lake Monroe Road at the very dead end of it. I met Eric, I guess, right after he moved in, and he's been an asset to our neighborhood. I actually didn't even know half my neighbors until I met him. But then we got to meet each other, which has been great. All the horses are tamed, well taken care of. The place is beautiful and working on constantly. It's just going to get better as the years go by. It's great for these kids to have something to do, to be able to get out. He keeps trying to get me on the horse, but I want to keep the one good hip I have left. But other than that, I don't see why there should be anyone who doesn't approve of this. I mean, it is a great place, a place for kids to go and learn to be with the animals. Of course, I'm an animal lover, as you can tell. But I definitely am for this.
Thank you for your comments. Next person, please.
Gwen Brown, I'm a real estate broker. I'm Becky's better half. We live at the end of the street, dead end, and he comes by all the time on rides. I can't find anything wrong with what he's trying to do here. It is great for kids, and they've had a lot of birthday parties there, celebrations, and everybody had a big smile on their face, so I can't see any reason to turn him down. I honestly can't. And living there, I'd love to see it happen for him. Absolutely. So thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Name and address, and then 2 minutes.
Good afternoon. I'm Cody Foreman, 3300 Lake Monroe. I live actually directly across from Eric. Great man here. He's done a lot of great things for us. You know, he's great to be around with the food drive, and I know that he was getting there with that. But he donated a bunch of food to a lot of the neighbors in the surrounding area. I can look out my front window and see his horses. The area is very well kept up, very clean. He's been doing great with that area over there. He respects his neighbors. They don't make a lot of noise. They're very quiet. So noise is not an issue of any sort. But I'm in favor. So that's all.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? You've already been up. Okay, here no one moving. I will close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition, please approach the podium. You also will have 2 minutes per person, total allocated time of 15 minutes to speak. If you'd state your name and address for the record, and then
Yes,
2
sir.
minutes.
Christy Grubbs, 3236 Laura Lane, Douglasville, Georgia, and I'm Eric's neighbor here on the back side. Our properties join. You know, after hearing everyone, I mean, it sounds great. And look, I have no problems with horseback riding in general or teaching the kids. No problem at all. Where I come from on my opposition is truly keeping the integrity of the neighborhood for what it was zoned for. You know, less traffic, quiet living, just keeping it real quiet. It's zoned residential low density for single family homes, and the trail riding in and of itself for individuals owning the property, that's great, love that. But the applicant's doing more than trail riding already, and you mentioned, he mentioned the TikTok ads and Facebook and all that. If you go look, you'll see that there's a lot more being advertised, and that's the part that's concerning, to me. Part of what's being advertised, excuse me, talk about being nervous, me too. Part of what is being advertised is corporate events, farm-to-table dining, petting zoo was mentioned, memberships, adult and kids parties. But another alarming part is remote access, remote entry access, meaning he wouldn't have to be on site to let someone in. Now, again, this is a residential area. It's not an Airbnb up in the North Georgia mountains. So, that's a little bit concerning for a neighbor, not knowing who would be there and when and how many people. But this type of for-profit commercial use is just fundamentally incompatible with the zoning intent. There's serious concerns over time about environmental impacts, public health, safety risks that could negatively impact the area, our quality of life, and our property values. So approving the permit would basically just, establish a harmful standard for commercial operations in a residential zoned area. So for that reason, I respectfully ask that you deny, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next person, please. State your name and address, and in 2 minutes.
Tamara Frank, 3236 Laura Lane. So good evening. I'm a longtime Douglas County resident, own property adjacent to the applicant's property. Based on public health and safety concerns, continued non-compliance, and animal control issues, I urge you to deny this permit. Douglas County Animal Services Impact Study documents a pattern of non-compliance, indicating a disregard for county and state regulations. The report indicates the applicant is not in good standing with the county or state agencies. Multiple violations and complaints have been documented, including one filed by the Georgia Department of Agriculture for illegal operations. Douglas County Animal Services recommendation is for the permit to be denied, and I agree. Their findings and what I personally witnessed, as outlined in a longer comprehensive statement, which hopefully you guys saw online, give justifiable concern for animal control and welfare and associated concerns for public health and safety. Potential injury from animals at large, animal waste, runoff, and odor, unpermitted, unmaintained portable toilets, questionable vaccination status of the animals poses a serious public health risk for humans as well as to the prevalent deer population and other wildlife and domestic pets in our area. The applicant has reportedly failed to provide vaccination records. Also, the condition of the property also shows significant loss of vegetation and ground cover due to clear cutting done by the applicant and animal foot traffic and grazing, leaving exposed soil, raising concerns about potential erosion, runoff, groundwater contamination, environmental impacts adversely affecting neighboring properties. Approving this permit would not only reward noncompliance, but set a dangerous precedent for ignoring county and state regulations. So I respectfully urge you to uphold standards, protect public health and safety, and deny this permit. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next person, please. Name and address.
Hi, my name is Connie Cochran. I live at 3300 Laura Lane. The property where I live has been owned by the Cochran family for 50 years. I personally have lived there for 20. I have had prior experience serving myself on a planning and zoning commission from my hometown and on city council. I take the work that you do and the staff very seriously. But my biggest concerns are this will set a precedent where we could have other properties be changed, which would impact me from a safety standpoint, could impact the tax value of my property. I have experienced problems with lighting from the property behind me because of the removal of the trees. I believe in green space, and there was quite a bit removed when he was developing his trails and his property. I and my neighbor also have expressed some concern about the lighting. I do appreciate the fact that trail rides are available. When I saw people riding from my side of the property. I assumed it was family members. I had no knowledge at all that this had been that the property had been used for commercial purposes from April through December. In December, I became aware of it. That was a big concern for me because I didn't find any licensures or all the other things. I do understand that this usage will have to be approved for him to ask for all of his licensures. I also have concerns because of the recommendation concerning the animals, about the care of the animals and any impact it might have on any of us and our properties and any pets that we personally have. I know that he has stated he has 9 horses on the property. Based on the information provided from zoning and my review of your zoning, 9 exceeds the usage for the current zoning and would put it in a commercial type situation. I have one other concern, and I know I'm close to my time. I am at my time.
You're
Thank
at your
you.
time. Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Okay, seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, you have heard the comments. Do you have any questions for clarification of staff or of the applicant?
Or Curry, I know that we had talked about code enforcement. Can we have code enforcement come up and tell us any?
So just to clarify, we have animal
Animal
control with
control,
us.
animal
This evening,
control.
Code enforcement is not present, but we can try
Okay.
to answer any questions you may have on their behalf.
Okay, animal control then. Thank you.
Hey, you might have to loosen that,
Yeah.
lift it back up.
I know, I'm short. Good evening, Board of Commissioners, Planning and Zoning Board. I'm Vanessa Francikowski, Director for Douglas County Animal Services. Thank you. And did you want me to go ahead and do my position on this? and
Please.
Clarify?
Yes, yes.
So we're actually here before you due to a complaint that we received from the Department of Agriculture. The complaint was lodged with the state regarding horses being ridden in the street, children on them without a helmet. And looking into this, when I worked with the Department of Agriculture, they were not only not zoned, did not have a current Douglas County business license, but did not have an equine stables license, which is required through the Georgia Department of Agriculture. Looking into this further, there are several instances where we have actually led up to court appearances due to failure to confine animals, public nuisance, and then, of course, that brought us in front of Honorable Judge Caldwell for some issues there. When we did go ahead and go out to the property, we did observe 9 horses, portable bathrooms, chickens, goats, and multiple large trailers for pulling horses. This is one of the proverbial, you put the cart before the horse. This is a commercial establishment that failed to go ahead and do any of the pre-licensing, any of the business licensing, any of the Douglas County regulations before actually setting up this establishment. So again, we put the cart before the horse. I will say that from a public safety standpoint, the riding of animals on the roadway is concerning just because there is a dead end. Vehicles fly through that. Just in our own vehicles, we see this all the time. They're going to drive by. If there's an impact with a horse and there's a child on it, that's an issue for us. Okay, so that's one issue. The second is the Coggins. So horses do need to be tested annually for Coggins. That can be contagious to other horses. It is a lifetime quarantine for that horse or immediate euthanasia. Okay, that should be presentable at the time of inspection. Obviously, there was no inspection at the time that we went out there. He was not able to go ahead and produce that to us. Talking to him today, he did produce it further to Department of Agriculture, which he is going to go ahead and share with me. So I do think there's a pathway to getting in compliance, but the previous history is what leads me to be concerned that we have not followed the rules to begin with. There was no regard for the licensure for the state, for our department, or the county. Going forward, there should be a strict compliance.
Thank you very much. Any questions while she's here?
This is Melissa Polk. I have a question. So in your opinion, after you went out and did an observance of the animals, are the animals being cared for properly?
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
Yes, they are.
Anything else before we let her go, because I know she's got work to do.
I do.
At this point in time, let me throw it over to the Board of Commissioners for any questions you may have from her so she can get back to work.
Okay, thank you so much. Chairman Simmons, Board of Commissioners, at this time, do we have questions for the applicant, staff, or either our director? Okay, Commissioner Braxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon,
Good evening.
Director. So just want to go back in regards to when you were indicating that the trail currently goes out in the street. And is that prohibited, or is that more of a safety? I just want to get more clarity on what that looks like.
So from my understanding, the trail does not go into the street. The animal was ridden in the street, and I'm not sure if this was just somebody that was visiting or if this was a family member, but the horse was being ridden in the public right-of-way. And so that's where it becomes an issue on if somebody turns that corner, it's the blind side, or somebody's driving too fast, there's that impact, and that becomes a public safety risk. There is not necessarily an ordinance for that, but again, it causes concern when we have a child on a horse without a helmet. Now, I cannot verify that because that came in through the state, that was lodged through the state, but my job was to investigate the circumstances behind that.
Okay. And then you mentioned a safety helmet. Is that also a requirement from a safety, just so I'm aware?
Generally speaking, that's best practices either way. And then again, if you're owning a business, I would believe that there should be insurance that's going to go ahead and cover you if you have riders out there that, they get injured.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, any other questions, Board? I have a few questions for you, Director. You mentioned all the horses, you said horses need to be tested for Coggins.
Yes.
On an annual basis. So all the horses in Douglas County are being tested? Do you have that information, or where is that information
So generally,
maintained?
they provide that to us. When we do our inspections with the Department of Agriculture, we'll ask for the Coggins proof. They will go ahead and use, they'll give us like Southern Crescent, which is one of the larger vets that produces it to us, and we verify it both with us and with the state, and then we keep it on file.
So all of our horses?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. And also, you mentioned one other thing. You said you received some complaints from the Department of Agriculture. So were they just findings, complaints? Can you expound a little more for me?
So the complaint was just based off of somebody had called in and lodged a formal complaint regarding them running a business without a license. So licensure, it's easy to look up on the Department of Agriculture website. They would be equitable for an equine stable license, so they're not registered as an equine stable license. And generally, and I'll just read this to you, stables are establishments or other enclosures where equines are maintained for boarding, holding, training, breeding, riding, pulling vehicles, or other similar purposes. So because we've advertised for training, we have petting zoos and things like that, and it's a commercial, you would need an equine stable license. Because they did not have that based off of our findings, and then again with the complaint that was with the child riding the horse down the street, that's where we went out and investigated. The other complaints that we had were on an ordinance level, which were the loose dogs, the public nuisance, and things like that.
Okay. Someone spoke about erosion in the soil. Who was that? Oh, that was, but I'll talk to our planning and zoning.
Yeah. Sorry, just briefly, if you would, if there's any additional questions for Director Franzikowski, wanted to be respectful of her time, as I know she has things to do in the field, but if there are other questions of the staff or applicant, if you wanted to go back and forth to the Planning and Zoning Board and then to the Board of Commissioners, I think that was your intention, Chairman Simmons, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, that was my intention.
Do you have any other questions for him?
Chairman, I have one question for Mr. Zukowski real quick.
Excuse me, Brandon, just one question before you kind of get back over to you guys.
Yeah. Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
What's the, because I just heard, and I don't know this and I apologize. Like, is there a certain number of horses and dogs and cats that can be on that many acres, or what is?
So that's going to be more of the planning and zoning as far as the acreage. So the Department of Agriculture does not have that, and we follow the planning and zonings as far as the acreage and the zoning codes. So Allison, if you want to speak on that portion.
Yeah.
One horse.
Sure. So a couple of distinctions under our ordinance. If you are keeping horses for your own personal use and enjoyment, so if your horse is your pet, for lack of a better word, it's basically 1 horse per acre. Under our code, if it's a commercial stable, it's usually 2 acres. It's like 1 horse per 2 acres to account for grazing and pasturing. So those are the kinds of issues when we have circumstances come up where they have more animals than are allowed on the property. When we go through that process to come into compliance, they would have the choice of either divesting themselves of certain animals, or we have also allowed instances where animals can live out their natural lives and then not be replaced. So we have encountered that issue before, and we do have several ways that we can address it should the use be approved by the Board of Commissioners.
And currently what he's doing at this moment, the applicant, is he is he in line with the 9 horses? I don't know, was it 9 or 10? I don't know, some number. Yeah.
So I think what we would have to do, my understanding, and I could be wrong about this, but my understanding is that upon the site visit, Code Enforcement Animal Control had identified 9 horses on 11 acres. I think that what comes to the fundamental part of this question is if there's going to be a special use permit granted, that does contemplate some non-residential use of the property. So we're calling it a commercial property. Just want to clarify, this is residential agriculture.
Right.
The primary use of the property as a single-family residence is not changing. We are considering this as an accessory use. So I think if it is the board's recommendation to approve, we would suggest taking that condition that gives myself, Director Francikowski, and our Chief Code Enforcement Officer, Russell Tizone, the ability to kind of say, okay, what is it going to take now step by step to bring the property into compliance?
Got it.
Because as you've heard me say previously, when there's a code compliance issue, the first step is to see, can we get the property into compliance? And
Right.
that's what brings us here tonight, is to get the approval, if it is the will of the board, to start that process to bring them into compliance with certain timelines that would, if you have to meet that timeline in order to keep advancing through the process.
Good. Interesting. Okay. All right. Thank you. I yield back. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. I'll yield the floor back to you, Chairman
Brandon,
Simmons.
I believe you had something, Mr. Penniman?
Yeah, just wanted to verify that you did say that the animals were well cared for when you
Yes,
went
they
out
are.
there. And then you did say that you feel that there is a way forward with this.
I do think there's a pathway forward. It just needs to be strict compliance and just adherence to, if you need to get a permit, you get your permit first. You don't put, the cart before the horse. Let's get our basic foundation first and then go forward.
Okay, beautiful. I just wanted to verify that was your opinion on it. That's
Yes.
all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for? Not. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
taking your time to come in.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Planning and
Director.
Zoning Board, any other questions of the applicant or of staff on this matter?
Yes, I have a question for the applicant.
Mr. Jackson, if you'd take the podium.
Right. Yes, sir.
Mr. Jackson, how long have you been operating your business?
I have had my horses out there for my personal use about 2 years. For me involving or inviting other people to come out, April of last year.
April of last year?
Oh, yes, sir.
Were you not aware of some of the requirements or licenses that are
I was
needed?
I was not aware of the agricultural piece. I actually I was at work, I received a phone call from my gate, and I can look and see who's out there from the, when they make the call, and I just saw a bunch of badges, and I'm like, what's going on? And it's like, we need to get in, what's going on, woo, woo. And we talked about coming back a couple of days, then that's when we walked the property with the agriculture and code enforcement, and they started writing different things down and telling me different things that I need to do. And that's what we've been doing since.
So you have a list of
We do.
requirements?
We do.
Have
And
you-
one of the requirements for the reason why we're here tonight, for you guys to go ahead and make a decision so we can kind of get everything to roll to be in compliance.
Have you stopped your operation, or are you?
We still do some things on the weekend. I ride every day. That's just like, I'm glad you asked that. The thing about the horses riding down the street, I ride through the neighborhood, period. Like I told you, at the Tractor Supply, I ride my horse to the Tractor Supply. We ride to the Tractor Supply. We ride up and down the street, around the corner, different little trails around there. I ride every day. I love horses. I deal with horses every day. It's a passion for me. So it wasn't, and another thing too, this is the thing that gets me. I can make a call just because I don't want something at a person's property. I can make a call. This is what I talked to the lady with the agriculture department. I can make a call and make a false complaint. They will come out there. I'll know they have to do it because it's their job.
But a lot of times this stuff don't be true. And when they come out there, the lady even said, it's our job, we have to respond to it. I know, I'm looking at your horses. Hell, your horses look better than mine, you know? And I'm like, I have a problem with someone making a false complaint just to kind of almost like mess with you a little bit. Because I'm like, I never did welcome. I'm like, you guys can always come in. I'm not doing anything wrong to my animals. I love horses. She said, I can see this because you didn't even know we was coming out here. So that's my thing. A person can make a complaint or a false complaint just to get them to come out and to see what? Nothing. The things that they complain about is not true. So that's what we're here now today for.
I yield.
Yes, sir.
Just want to hear a little more about like your heart behind it. I think you mentioned playing football prior to this. Who'd you play for, or where'd you play?
Man, I was a little too short. That's why I'm not in the league.
Okay. Okay.
I'm serious. I'm dead serious. If I was at least 6 feet, you wouldn't be talking to me now. I am dead serious.
Yeah.
I played in college, man.
Okay. Beautiful.
College ball.
The reason why I ask is because I know that with playing collegiate level sports, there's a certain level of dedication and discipline that comes behind it, and it seems that that's obvious with the way you handle your business or the way you take care of your animals. So I just wanted to hear a little bit more of your heart behind the business side of it, and like when did you decide like, hey, I want to take this from just something I'm showing my son to something I'm showing the world?
Thank you for asking that question. I'm from Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. I grew up just like this young man with animals, horses, with my grandfather, my father, and I wish my grandfather could see me now. I wish he could, the things that I have going on with these animals. And I tell him and his brothers the same thing. Hey, man, you're going to have to take the baton. My dad done it, which is your granddad. My granddad had done it, which is your great-granddad. You're going to have to take this thing on. We talk about it all the time, about just the love for it, man. When I have a problem, when they came out there, you know how that made me feel. Man, I stayed out there in the yard with my animals until it just calmed me down. It took everything away from me. And a lot of times when people come out to my property, they leave saying the same thing. I'm an educator too, man. I teach school. A lot of my neighbors probably didn't even know that. I'm an educator. I've been an educator for 27 years. Those pictures, if you go back and look at the pictures up there, those pictures were the animals that I took to school. I take my animals to school at least 5 or 6 times a year, and my principal loves it. Other principals are like, can we get coach to bring this on out to our school? But anyway, man, to answer your question, that's my passion come from. I grew up in it. And once I stated that the intent for me when I purchased my property, I actually wanted to go to South Fulton. South Fulton prices were sky high. So I found this place in Douglasville. That was just for us, not for the public. Like I mentioned to you, I take my animals to school. Coach, Jalecia would like to learn how to ride. What can you do for her? I'm like, I don't know. I never really done that. I'm coming. I'm gonna wrap it up. But
we got a lot to do.
We got a lot to do tonight.
Okay, yeah.
All right, I'm sorry. But that's where it come from.
You answered my question.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, man.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so first of all, you're here because you were not in compliance.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's make sure we understand that you're not a victim here. You weren't in compliance.
Right.
So the opposition to your business is justified.
Yes,
So
sir.
start with that. Now, somebody makes some false accusations, well, that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not why you're here.
Right.
Okay, so make sure we clear. Do you know now, have you learned? You said you're an educator, so you also learn too, right? I also was an educator.
Yes, sir.
Do you know now what you need to do? Have you looked into all the different organizations that's going to inspect you, inspect your facility, inspect your animals? Do you know exactly what you need to do right now? Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's my main concern, moving forward. You know, is there a path forward? We were told it is. Might be, but I need to make sure that you understand you're responsible and your responsibilities for these animals
and the public safety. You got to have insurance, right? Somebody hurt themselves, you got to have liability insurance.
Absolutely.
Okay. What about toilets and things like that? Did you working that out as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm working with the code enforcement on everything.
What about
with the agriculture
the
department?
done and getting rid of the waste? What do you got set up for that?
Been doing the same thing I've been doing since I was a kid, man. I'm not. This is not my first time for us handling animals and stuff. We clean up behind ourselves. We take care of our animals. I've been doing this all of my life. This is nothing that a new business that I'm starting. I'm just opening it up to the public.
Okay.
If it wasn't for the public, I'd still be doing the same thing, taking care of my animals.
All right. I was making sure you're in compliance. That's my main concern.
Yes, sir.
And there's a lot of different rules, a lot of different organizations and departments that govern this for the safety of the public, the safety of the animals. That's my main concern.
Right.
But I yield the floor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, planning and zoning?
Hi, this is Melissa Polk. I have a question for the applicant. So I noted that, so you currently do not have a license, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you were brought aware of the fact that a license was required to do the commercial portion of what you're doing. And when were you notified of that?
When they came out.
Recently, like 30 days, that type thing?
How long ago it been?
Probably about 2 months.
Yeah.
About what?
About 2 months ago.
2 months ago. And so knowing that you're required to have a license, right, to do any commercial activity, you're still currently doing commercial activity, correct? On the weekends, you said?
I wouldn't even call it, like she said, I wouldn't even name it commercial.
But you said you were doing some things on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like birthday parties, riding, things like that?
Trail ridings, teaching classes. I wouldn't consider that commercial. She stated the same thing.
But you're advertising it as a business, correct? A service that you're offering?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just wanted to ask here that now that you are aware of the fact that you're required to have a license, are you going to stop those services until you do obtain those licenses?
Yes, ma'am. And in order for me to obtain them, I need the special prayer from you guys to grant it.
Understood. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions, planning and zoning?
Okay.
Hearing none, Madam Chair, I'll throw it to the Board
Sorry.
of Commissioners for questions.
I just
I'm
clarify
sorry.
one thing. I
Ms.
do want to
Duncan.
make it clear that we did not issue a cease and desist to Mr. Jackson. So whenever you are found to be in violation, code enforcement does have the option of issuing, citations. There were no citations issued in this instance. He was directed to come and speak to planning and zoning about whether there is a path forward before issuing any citations. And so I just wanted to kind of clarify that from the record. There is no current pending zoning citation against what Mr. Jackson is doing. Pending the outcome of this hearing, then we will take steps to see what needs to happen to come into compliance. So I did want to just kind of speak to that we had not issued any kind of stop or cease and desist orders in regard to this. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair?
Okay, thank you so much. Board of Commissioners, do we have any questions? Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. This is to the applicant? All right, good evening.
Good evening.
So can you tell us a little bit of how you're advertising the business, the rise, and how do you find your clients?
First thing was word of mouth. After I got word of mouth and people came out, they was like, hey man, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I met other people that are in the horseback business, horseback riding business also. They recommended for me to go to social media. But to be honest with you, word of mouth was the best thing. Social media is just kind of like just shows what we do. Shows the horses, how calm they are. It shows how we teach, how different people are nervous or kind of like agitated, because we record all that and just put it on there. And it just gives them an idea of what to look for when you come out. I would advise you to do the same thing. I would like for you to go and look at it. Maybe you and your family can come out and experience some of the same things that we have going on.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Kind of as a follow-up, I know that there's with the special needs community, that there's, riding horses and being around animals is something that is very well requested. Yeah, you can come back up to the mic, I'm not finished. So just curious, is that a population or is that also
I have had a couple of people. Matter of fact, I just had a young lady that came from Texas. She used to stay in Douglasville. She came, she talked to me, and she told me she used to stay here, and what she does, she do in Texas. And I told her I'd be very, very interested in learning more about it. That's what I want to do here. So when she came, that was New Year's? She came New Year's. She brought 3 of her friends. One was the mom, the other was the daughter. They look like sisters though. But man, it's on TikTok. I put it on TikTok. She was just like, hey man, there's so much you can do with kids here. You know, I told her I work with kids every day. I said that's my main thing, man. I want to educate the kids about the horses, and it's a family environment, family fed farm. Just like one of the guys was saying about my gate, when I purchased this property, none of this I did not intend for none of this to happen. This was for us. Sweet Rose. Rose is my mother's name. The name of my farm is Sweet Rose. You know, everything I do, it has a rose in it because of my mom. But as I introduced other people to my world, they told me, hey, this is bigger than you. You need to extend this thing. So that's how we got here.
Okay, thank you. In regards to the conditions that you've seen so far, are you in agreement with all the conditions currently that staff has recommended?
Absolutely. And I want to just clarify another thing too. When the animal control young lady came up here and she stated previous things, that violations, she was correct. But it wasn't any farm animals. It was a dog that I had. I got rid of that dog. When I came up here and faced the judge and she was talking about jail time and this fine, I said, over a dog? Oh no, I got rid of that dog. So it wasn't any horses or anything like that. It was the dog got out running loose, going through the neighborhood with other stray dogs.
Okay.
But I got rid of that joker.
Okay, all right. And then the last question, you heard the concerns in regards to riding in the street. Are you yourself and your family riding the street, or is the public and those clients that you have coming to riding in the street? Because again, that does concern from a safety standpoint if we have riders that's in the street.
Absolutely. That's another piece too. I'm glad you brought that up. Once we ride, I told we start wearing our shirts, the number on the back, because everybody stops us. Everybody stops us. Hey, especially when they see her. Oh my goodness, where are you guys at? Man, we have a farm here in Douglasville. In Douglasville? Didn't know Douglasville had anything like that. So that's an advertising piece right there. We ride around the community. Every day, or every other day, we'll probably go down the street. But we ride in the community. But when people come over, they do not ride out in the street. They stay on the property. But we kind of like bigger than the property. So we ride in the community.
Okay. All right, just wanted to get that clarification.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, any other questions, board? If I could, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Vice Chair, you have the floor.
You know, we have, there's actually a place called Exodus Ranch right here next to Douglasville Police Department. It's in downtown Douglasville, right off the Fairburn Road exit. It does many similar things as to what you're saying that you want to do for this community. They actually do a foster family day. They get foster family kids out there, enjoy a whole day event. They do stuff for special needs. They do a lot of stuff for the community as well. So I grew up riding horses, love horses, but it's your vision of what I'm understanding what you're trying to do, and I understand your neighbors, but there are ranches like this, and there are some in my district as well, that are doing great things for the community. And so for a lot of us to say, well, where this should or should not be, we got a fantastic one already here in downtown Douglasville. So I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much.
What's the name of it again?
Exodus Ranch.
Exodus. I'll reach out to him. Thank you for the information.
Right. I do have a question for our planning and zoning manager.
Yes, ma'am.
On those conditions, did we have anything inserted regarding the remote entry access? That was something mentioned, so we can control, the timing or things like that to make sure that just anyone cannot walk on the property. Was that included?
I don't believe that was included in the conditions, but we can certainly add that. I would need to probably understand from Mr. Jackson a little bit better about what the remote entry access is involving, because I think you do reside on the property, and they should be there, but we can certainly kind of clarify to them the uses that they're showing on their website and what would be allowable under the approval. There are certain things that we've already talked about, like would having to get approval through the Department of Ag, but in addition to that, they'll have to go through environmental health for any kind of like food service or any kind of restrooms or anything like that. And so typically, I think we're looking at kind of constraining those uses to most of what they've presented to you previously, like what we have seen in other communities. And if that means we need to talk to them about a few things that they have on the website going forward about their use, we can certainly address that,
Okay.
if it is the will of the board to approve.
And then my last question is around helmets for those riders that come out. So we do have, I'm sure that are those conditions written in there.
So we don't have those as a condition. I know there's been a lot of discussion about the riding horses in the road. I have actually been receiving updates from our Chief Code Enforcement Officer, who is watching and says that he's going to start attending these meetings going forward. But he has shared with me that it's his understanding that under state law, a horse is considered a vehicle and can ride in the road so long as it is in compliant with all applicable traffic rules, and that I think helmets are required if you're under 18. But again, I'm a little out of my depth with this level of specificity, but I would say we would most likely defer to to whatever the state law is in regarding to keeping animals and using them for transport.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm definitely out of my depth because
Absolutely.
when it comes to horses, I try to go horseback riding and I may need to come out. I'm a nervous wreck, and the horse never moves. He just looks at me and I look at him, and we sit out for about an hour and look at each other,
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
get off. So I'm trying to get my strength there to ride horses. Okay? No other questions? I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you have heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on S 2026-04, please?
This is Brandon Penniman. I make a motion to approve application S 2026-04 as a request for a special use permit to allow agriculturally oriented use
With the conditions?
with the conditions as read in by staff.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Or Curry, second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the motion. All in favor of approving S 2026-04 with the conditions that were read into the record, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. All opposed? Thank you very much. Madam Chairman, S 2026-04 comes to you with a recommendation for approval with the conditions that were read into the record.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion that we approve S 2026-04 for special use permit, allow agriculture-oriented with the conditions as presented by staff with the following additional conditions. One, that you will be on site during the hours of operations. Secondly, maintaining all animal control and welfare regulations, including vaccinations. Third, that all safety precautions for riders must be adhered to. And fourth, that you will abide by all of the license and code compliant requirements as specified.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
You got to probably, I don't know whether it would be with Allison or the applicant to ensure that he or she is okay with these additional conditions.
So again, yes, staff understands the conditions, and we don't have any particular concern about moving forward to enforce these. Again, we'll just remind you that this would be for 12 months only, and then the applicant would come back to you at the end of 12 months, and we could check in on the status of them, and at that time, we could adjust any conditions as would be appropriate. I don't know that I think that we want to be in the position of going out and monitoring and checking with any regularity on and on and on, if it is the will of the board to allow this to extend longer than 12 months. But I do think that within the initial 12 months, Mr. Jackson has come in, he's worked with us, in the Planning and Zoning Department. You heard Director Francikowski indicate that there is a path forward for compliance in her opinion, and Russell Tizone, our Chief Code Enforcement Officer, has indicated to me that he does see that there is a path forward for compliance. Again, it's going to take a lot of steps. So I think that these 4 conditions are appropriate in the context of this initial 12 months that we're going forward, and the staff has no concerns. And I don't know, Mr. Jackson, if you have any concerns. Mr. Jackson seems to indicate that he's okay with them as well. So.
Okay, and that's all I want, just make sure that at least he had an opportunity to say he like it or not, or he wants some adjustments made, but this will be your opportunity if there is anything that needs to be changed in addition to what we just added. Okay, I'll yield. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, board? Or should I say discussion? We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Okay, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries, and congratulations.
Okay, good luck to you, Mr. Jackson. Our next agenda item, please.
Give us just one moment to reset
Okay.
the slide deck. I would appreciate it.
And we'll give you folks a few minutes, a minute or so to get out.
Thank you.
Which doesn't sound, that sounded bad, but. We talked about that in our pre-meeting. Okay, good. But I just wanted to double check with you. No, the attorney didn't have a problem. Okay. Let's call the meeting to order. If you have discussions, please take them outside. Thank you. Mr. Cronin, our next agenda item, please.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners and Planning and Zoning Board. Our next agenda item is Z 2025-85 and S 2025-86. This was heard at the December 2nd meeting, and it was deferred until now, so I will go through this presentation briefly. We do ask that the applicant provides an update with their meeting from the community, with the Parkside community. But this is a special use permit or a rezoning from light industrial with conditions to shed some of those conditions previously put in place, and then a special use permit to allow outdoor storage. So the applicant has indicated that the following conditions they would like to remove. The applicant shall provide a dense screening for the portion of the property that fronts any road, and the applicant shall install the industrial intersection of Rock House and Factory Shoals Road and Bullard Roads prior to obtaining any permits. Staff is recommending approval with conditions of the rezoning and the special use permit request, with these conditions being: number one, the applicant is required to connect a public sewer system for this development with design criteria and specifics to be reviewed for compliance by the Douglasville, Douglas County Water Sewer Authority. And number two, a data center is not a permitted use on this property, and those are conditions from the previous zoning approval where the previous ask was for a warehouse. But now the applicant is asking for a contractor's yard with outdoor storage. And we do ask that the applicant provides an update for their meeting with the community. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Cronin. And if I remember correctly, I wasn't here, but y'all had the public hearing on this matter last month, so we will not have a public hearing at this point in time. Planning and zoning, do you have any questions of the applicant or of staff on this matter? Are you okay with the conditions?
Yes, sir.
that
We
were
are,
read in?
we are happy to comply with the conditions that staff has set forth.
Yeah. Okay. Planning and zoning board, any questions? No? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the Board of Commissioners for any questions you folks may have.
Okay, before I yield the floor to the Board of Commissioners, sir, if we could, planning and zoning manager come up, if you could refresh my memory on those conditions, please.
Sure thing. So the conditions that Austin had shared with you, they're asking for several conditions to be removed, and so the only two that would remain on the property, the applicant is requiring to be connected to the public sewer system, and then also that a data center is not permitted. So those were there previously.
Another condition, I'm sorry. There's also a third condition, I'm very sorry.
Yeah, thank
The
you.
outdoor storage shall be screened from view by an opaque imitation wood vinyl fence, polymer or composite-based material, opaque fence, or freestanding wall no less than 6 feet in height, and made of decorative block or stone and appropriately landscaped and maintained.
I thought we had, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
And so again, those would be the conditions, and if you will recall, this was deferred to give time for the applicant to work together with the representative of the Parkside neighborhood, so we have both the applicant and the neighborhood representative here. If you have any additional feedback from them in terms of that meeting, or would like to hear any additional feedback, then they can both speak to that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Manager. Any questions, Board? Okay. Commissioner Kenneth Jones, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like a brief update, and I do appreciate that you all did keep us informed via email that you had scheduled the meeting. So if you could just let us know what the outcome of that was with your meeting with Parkside.
Yes, ma'am. We met with Jatan Osborne and Malcolm, who are two representatives from the Parkside neighborhood. I would say that the conversation back on the 15th of December was a very constructive one. We did a Zoom call with them, and during that, we presented what I would call as like 5 really critical pieces of information on the project. First, what we presented to them is that currently the site is zoned and approved for a 119,000 square foot warehouse. For this project, for the build-to-suit, we're actually reducing the developable footprint of the building 93,000 square feet. So the new building is going to be 26,000 square feet and contain quite a bit of professional office, training facilities, and maintenance facilities for Plateau. Okay, that has, in our opinion, one really kind of critical benefit to the project. It's going to reduce the traffic that's expected to the site pretty dramatically. The updated traffic memo that we shared with the neighborhood when we spoke is that it's going to reduce the total traffic counts to the site about 33 cars per day, and the total truck traffic to the site 49 trucks per day. Right, so that's going to have a pretty significant benefit to the area and the community in terms of the traffic going to the site. Secondly, we really kind of tried to orient them to where our site was in relation to our neighborhood. I'm not sure if I can scroll through this back and forth. Sorry, the other way. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so if you can see this, you can see the area that's outlined in blue that says site is our property. The Parkside neighborhood is to the south of there, and there's about a 70-acre wooded buffer between our site and the Parkview neighborhood. That site very well could and will be developed in the future, but currently there is no part of our property that abuts their neighborhood, and at nearly 4/10 of a mile away, they should have no really site impacts or visual impacts from their neighborhood to our site. Was the second thing that we outlined for them. The other thing that we outlined for them is one of staff's recommendation of the fence guarding the outside area, but also that we're going to landscape it in accordance with the quality growth and overlay district, right? So the building should have a very nice professional appearance, and it should not have any kind of like optical issues for the neighbors traveling through the area. The third piece of information that we shared with Jatan and Malcolm is that the real benefit to doing a build-to-suit here is that we're going to have a long-term tenant, 20-year lease in place at this site, right? And Plateau is committed to being a very good community member here. Currently, the local roadway signs prevent trucks from turning right and going down to the Parkview neighborhood. And we've got Greg Farr here with us today, who will be managing and leading at this site. And he can speak to this, but they will direct their employees to not turn trucks to the right and go down to the Parkview neighborhood, right? So we think we have a very good partner here who's going to be in place for a really long time. Plateau's been in business for over 40 years. So we think we're going to have a very good relationship here with the community due to having a known tenant in place that can go into this site. The fourth piece of information that we share with them, I know at the meeting, Jatan brought up stormwater concerns and runoff from the property. As you can see, it's quite some distance, but our engineer can speak to it as well. We're going to have this site designed to the proper stormwater code. They should have no issues with any stormwater runoff from our site to their neighborhood. And then lastly, everybody, I think, across the Atlanta MSA is always concerned about traffic. We relayed to them that we've worked very closely with DOT to come up with road improvements to this intersection that are commensurate with the traffic volume that'll be going to the site. And we feel like we've got a very good plan in place to handle that traffic volume coming and going on a daily basis. We think that after the meeting, we've developed a very good relationship with the neighborhood, and we hope that they can see that this change in the approved development is actually a good thing for the community.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And Ms. Osborne, you represented, could you come up? Were there any additional outstanding concerns from the residents, or do you feel like your concerns were resolved at the community meeting?
So we did have the meeting. We did ask a lot of questions because we do have concern with traffic. The use of the property is going to be a little different than what we're used to because they have like a bay, a wash bay. But we still had concern about the traffic. We also wanted to recommend that the entrance to the area come from, I can't even think right now because I'm just so irritated. But anyway, I'm sorry, from the other side off of the side street and not come from Rock House Road, I'm sorry. And that's because it's in the curve. It's also in a blind spot. So when people are going up and down the hill and going around the curve, that's a blind spot, and we're already having issues with runoffs. So we have people flipping their vehicles off of that street. The traffic, it may die down later, but in the beginning, just to build, it's going to be massive traffic that we're already dealing with. We also have concerns because we have vehicles that are getting damaged by all the traffic of the trucks that are coming through that area. We're just trying to figure out how it can be done differently because it is further away from us. It is, but however, the impact of our community is still going to be there, even though it's further. And we had a misunderstanding because we didn't know. And then also the fact that you guys took liberty, and we appreciate that, to notify people that are within 100 yards from these buildings. However, we're the only community left. And so we would appreciate that something is sent out to the community so that we could prepare for it. As the board, we are here to protect the community at all costs. We did realize that it's further away than what we thought because we were here for another project. So again, we're dealing with 3 different projects right now. We're dealing with legal for land as well as another data center. So we have a lot on our plate. Once we met and we realized how far it was from it, it was a little different, but we would make the recommendation that they don't come off of Rock House Road. We have signs there already that says no trucks, and no one is following that, right? And they're going past our homes. In between our homes is more traffic than I've ever seen, and I've only been there since 2018. So we have a lot of concerns. We did discuss that with the team, and we also discussed, is there any way that they can come off, well, I can't think, the street that the fire station is on?
Douglas.
No, Douglas Hill.
Douglas Hill.
Douglas Hill, yeah. Coming from the backside instead of coming out of that curve because it's been very dangerous for the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Allison, this question, I guess well, I'm not sure if it'd be for you or if more for a design question, but is it feasible to have the entrance off of Douglas Hill?
So I'll defer to Bruce Mercer on that with Douglas County DOT.
Hey, good evening. The question was, could they possibly have another, basically, entrance to the property?
Yeah, if it could be oriented so that the entrance to their property, the majority of the traffic is on Douglas Hills Boulevard as opposed to off of Rock House Road to mitigate the impact to the last residents that live on that community?
What we have there is typically, we have a development that has access directly to county property. The current plan that's under design, and they have come through DRC, and we've looked at it, and we've actually, if you're familiar with that area, it's Bullard Road actually forks and creates a little triangle. Both of the access points that are existing for Bullard Road are not too safe. I have worked with the engineer and said, we own the triangle property, and we would like to have your drive access relocated in the safest area possible so we can improve that intersection. Now, to go back to address, can we reroute and go through Douglas Hill, that would require road improvements outside of their property. And there has been a cul-de-sac that was constructed at the end of Douglas Hill Road that would have to be torn out. But I don't have the ability to enforce to do off-site improvements for that.
Understood. I appreciate it. Thank you. Madam Chair, I yield back.
Okay, thank you so much. Commissioner Kenneth Jones, any other questions, board? Okay.
Oh, I did have one other question.
Okay.
Managing Director Duncan, is there a difference between the quality growth overlays landscape and y'all's original condition for the landscaping?
I don't believe so. I'll defer to Austin Cronin on that. Looks like he's shaking his head.
Sorry, Austin.
No worries. Oh, the screen went out. It's a little odd. So the condition for the outdoor storage screening, it does not differ from the quality growth. The quality growth requires any fencing not used for screening to be decorative block stone or decorative metal. And so that's what we've put in here.
And applicant, you were fine with all three of those? I understand you wanted the requirement to fix the intersection removed, but you're fine with the other three conditions as read in by staff?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I yield back, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Commissioner Kenneth Jones, Manager Duncan, if you could, for me, for a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Has there been any discussions about redirecting that traffic from Rock House Road? Any plans, anything put up? And maybe a question for the applicant, just to DOT, let me.
So
yeah.
DOT
Yeah.
or the applicant,
Yeah.
so to try to redirect the traffic.
Yeah, just, is it any, he said it was a cul-de-sac there, is it any?
I think the
thoughts?
primary concern, and I'll defer to
Behind
Bruce Mercer on this, but I think the primary concern is that to do anything other than what is presented, and we can go back to that concept plan, would require off-site improvements on property
Yeah,
that the
he
applicant
said-
doesn't control and that I don't think the county controls either. So do you want to take it from there?
So who
Yeah, as-
controls it?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I just want to know who controls it. You're saying we don't control it, but we want to hear our citizens. They said if we could give them some relief off of Rock House Road.
Yes,
Okay.
Based on the current code, we're able to enforce road improvements or include road improvements along the property frontage. Then beyond that, if a development has enough trip generations, then you look at possibly making off-site improvements. And in this particular case, we would have to extend the top left of the display there. We would have to extend the road southerly or northeasterly to to a cul-de-sac that's already created on Douglas Hill. We would have to punch through that, which is several hundred yards away.
Okay. You know, I'm surgical on y'all sometimes. Our surgeons would find a way to get there. I was just trying to think
Yes,
for our
ma'am.
citizens. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, if there are no other questions, I'll yield the floor back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. We have two items here. Do I have a motion on Z 2025-85, the zoning portion of this request?
It's Rob Thomas. I'd like to make a motion to first approve Z 2025-85, rezoning light industrial to light industrial without conditions.
I have a motion, I have a second. I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion, planning and zoning? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving Z 2025-85, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Thank you very much. Madam Chairman, Z 2025-85 comes to the Board of Commissioners with a recommendation for approval.
Okay. Thank you so much. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve Agenda Item Z 2025-85 with the conditions as read in by staff.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. And I yield the floor to you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Okay, Planning and Zoning Board, do I have a motion on the special use permit S 2025-86, please?
This is Frank Payne. I recommend approval of S 2025-86, a special use permit for a contractor's office and outdoor storage located on Bullock Road, Lithia Springs,
With conditions?
with the conditions as outlined by staff.
Thank you very much. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving S 2025-86, special use permit with the conditions read into the record, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Thank you very much. Madam Chairman, S 2025-86, special use permit comes to you with a recommendation for approval with the conditions that were read into the record.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve Agenda Item S 2025-86 with the recommendation, or the conditions as read in by staff.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board?
Yes, Madam Chair, I do have something to say.
Okay.
I'm thankful to the applicant that you brought a project that is a significant downzoning from what was previously proposed. But I hope that when we have our land use retreat, that the Board of Commissioners thinks very seriously and critically about what land use looks like, not just in 5 years or in 10 years, but in 20 years, because when these people bought what they expected to be their forever homes, I cannot imagine that they thought that they were going to be surrounded by 4 or 5 warehouses, a Walmart distribution center, 6 data centers, and now an outdoor storage yard. I don't think anyone sitting up here wants any of the things that I just listed off directly adjacent to their neighborhoods and their communities, and we have to stop doing that just because we felt like the people who purchased there didn't have as strong of a voice or as much money as the property developers coming in. Again, I'm very thankful that you guys did take it seriously and speak with them, that you're bringing a quality project, that you took care to think through what it would look like for the quality of life for these people. But I sometimes just drive down Rock House to see if the signs have been put back from the last time an 18-wheeler has come through and plowed through their community entrance sign, or knocked down the stop signs, knocked down the how are you in a tractor trailer and you knock down the sign that says no tractor trailers on this street? It's wild, and it's unacceptable, and I feel stuck because there's nothing that I can do for you. I just hope that we take that more seriously and put appropriate uses together, as opposed to this hodgepodge and haberdashery of uses next to people's neighborhoods, because it's not fair. Madam Chair, I yield back.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Kenna Jones. Look, any other discussion, board? Any other discussion? I do have a question regarding, I have some discussion. I would love to see some cameras. You have the truck signs there saying no trucks, and there's some violations, but there's no way to monitor that, the bad behavior, for lack of a better term. So that's something we'd love to see, some cameras along that area, so we can give some citations if necessary. So that's my piece, because it is certainly an effect on our citizens when you have truck traffic coming through a residential area. It really is disturbing. And I am really echoing the sentiments of Commissioner Kenna Jones. So, thank you. If there's no discussion, board, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. And thank you. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Best of luck to y'all. Next agenda item, please. We'll stand by for about a minute.
Never mind. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay,
Ready?
next agenda item, please.
All right. Next agenda item we have is Z 2025-73. This is a rezoning. Applicant is Shree Development LLC, and the applicant is here on behalf of this project. So this is a request for rezoning from residential low density and heavy commercial with conditions to a planned residential development. This is for a residential community located on Highway 92. This is approximately 10 acres in size, and it's in Commission District Number 2. So in regard to the existing conditions, the proposed project is comprised of 2 parcels. Both parcels have single-family detached residential structures on them. The property at 2304 Highway 92 was rezoned several years ago. You may recall it was rezoned for general commercial to serve as a law office. However, it never materialized for that use at the time. So the applicant has also filed a variance application concurrently with this rezoning application. The variance would reduce a portion of some of the required perimeter buffers from 50 feet to 25 feet. And when we show you the site plan, we'll share with you a little bit more detail about that. We would like to say that the applicant has worked very closely with staff to try to come together with a project that does reflect the goals of the Highway 92 LCI as well as the comprehensive plan. Part of what we're trying to do is encourage a greater diversity of housing type along that corridor to provide greater options in terms of the style and size and price point of housing that the community is looking for. So this project includes a mix of single-family detached units as well as single-family detached units that are divided as 2 quadplexes. So there would be 4 units within that structure. It includes single-family attached townhome units as well as single-family attached stacked townhome units. And so again, it would be substantially similar from the outside as a townhome, but it would have 2 to 3 residential units inside. It also includes several single-family attached live-work units, and I'll provide a little bit more detail about that when I show you the site plan. The revised site plan also includes 2 small pocket parks, a neighborhood park, and a dog park for use by the residents. So the revised project includes rear-loaded alley parking, and they will have private roads, so this will be a gated community. And the project approval would be subject to the overall regulating plan, the overall development standards, and the architectural pattern book. All of that was submitted with the application and is included in the staff report for this item. So here we have the relevant code sections as well as the prior zoning action that I had alluded to previously. So we have been very pleased in working with this applicant over many months. They started with a site plan that we thought didn't reflect the true character that we were trying to encourage along the Highway 92 corridor. And just want to say that they have worked very closely with staff to accommodate a variety of requests. So that includes aligning the project entrance with the Carlton, which is the project opposite of Highway 92. That was a request from our DOT. They've ensured that the project meets the requirements for entry distance as required by the fire department. And then they have been aligning a variety of uses and architectural styles with the recommendation of the LCI update along the Highway 92 corridor. So there will be the required variance. We can speak about that a little bit more in detail in a minute. Should the board be inclined to approve the project, the variance does follow subsequent to any zoning approval. The project does include 5 live-work units at the front of the property. I'll show you an image of that in just a moment, but we want to make sure that we're clear that these are small, limited service commercial in nature, so each of those units is only about 500 square feet. And in the event that the commercial component is not viable, the overall development standards do contemplate that those units can be used for strictly residential purposes. But it introduces a new building type on the corridor that we haven't seen previously. And as you've heard me say many times before, when we get new leasable commercial space in the county, that space does get taken up. We haven't had a lot of commercial coming online for a variety of reasons, much of which I think is market-based recently. But when we have asked for developers to include some limited amount of commercial space in their mixed-use projects, we have observed that the tenants do move in there, and they're the kinds of things that the community has asked us for in terms of shops, restaurants, and things to do. So we appreciate the applicant being willing to take a chance and try to design something that will meet that. So again, in speaking of the commercial and the residential, we do think this is primarily a residential project. There's a very small footprint of non-residential use contemplated that really is more for that home office scale or limited service commercial scale. So we do think the planned residential district is the appropriate zoning classification. The applicant has also agreed to stipulations for a fence to separate from an adjacent property, as well extending the sidewalk to the intersection of Mack Road. So we do want to kind of put that in the record, that those were some specific feedback that we got from the community information meeting. And so we do appreciate the applicant being willing to accommodate that. And then finally, there was an impact statement from Douglas County DOT that does indicate on-street parking can be a little bit problematic under our code, but if approved tonight, we have been working with the DOT and understand that it is something that can be worked out through the Development Review Committee process. So just wanted to clarify that as well. We have reviewed the criteria and the zoning code, and we have found it to be substantially compliant. So here is a zoning map showing the front portion of the properties highlighted in blue. That's the commercial portion that we spoke of previously. And then the rear portion is zoned residential low density. Here's an aerial image of the property. And so this is the site plan that I have alluded to. What you see towards the rear of the property are the single-family detached homes. Those colored in pink are those that would be just straight single-family detached. Those colored in green are the ones that would have the option for some quadplex units to be built into those. We have a number of townhomes in the gray through the middle, and then in the red, those are the properties that have been identified as stacked townhomes. So again, that might be 2 to 3 units in substantially the same footprint as a traditional townhome. And then the properties highlighted in blue in the front are those live-work units. And I'll provide a little bit more detail. So this is an example elevation that we have received from the applicant showing details of what those could look like. And then here is a view of that rear portion of the property around a central green space with rear-loaded alleys, showing to the left of the image the 2 quadplex units, and then the single-family detached to the right of the image. So here's another example elevation of the quadplex units, and an example elevation that was provided to us of the live-work townhome units. So we have looked at the future land use map and the character area in the comprehensive plan, and we do find the request to be substantially compatible. This would be bound by a set of overall development standards tied to the regulating plan that I just shared with you. All of that information is included in the staff report for this item, and so therefore the staff is recommending approval of the rezoning request with the findings that the granting of the rezoning will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code, that the granting of the rezoning is compatible with the Highway 92 LCI and the mixed-use corridor future land use classification of the Fairburn-Lee corridor, character area of the comprehensive plan, and number 3, the granting of the use will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare and reflects best practices. Finally, we are proposing one condition, which is that project approvals are subject to the overall regulating plan and development standards referenced in the staff report and included in the file for the application. And that does include my presentation, and happy to answer any questions at the appropriate time. So thank you.
Thank you very much. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, including the applicant or the applicant's representative, you have 2 minutes per person for an allocated time of 15 minutes. Mr. Fowler.
Good evening, everybody. Joe Fowler, Post Office Box 49. Allow me to introduce the developer, Zach Murray. Next to him is Aisha Bronner. She is the engineer that designed all of this. We've been working on this project since I was in high school. We agree with all of the recommendations a long time. Actually, several months interacting with the staff about what would be appropriate. We agree with the recommendations and conditions from the staff. We commit to the homes that are being constructed, and they will follow the designs that you've seen in the visuals a moment ago. The project mix includes all those that you've heard. It's a gated community, single-family detached on the 8 lots that are purple on the north, as Allison just mentioned. The live-work townhomes are on the front in blue. There are 5 of them altogether. There are 4 plex lots at the back rear in green. That was also mentioned. 38 townhome lots. Those are in the center in gray. 12 duplex stackable townhomes. They are in the salmon color behind the live-work townhomes. And there's a community park. You saw it earlier on the plan, adjacent to the single-family detached and 4-plex lots. All the houses, as mentioned, are rear-loaded. There's a need for a variance along the periphery on the north. You'll see up there that application has already been submitted. In terms of building materials, our client has worked diligently, as noted, to meet the style and architectural recommendations of the staff and to comply with the applicable overlay and Highway 92 LCI recommendations. And we appreciate your approval. The designer, the developer, engineer are able to respond to any questions that may be raised concerning this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please approach the podium. If you would state your name and address for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Sure. I'm Susan Bowie, 2935 Flowers Drive here in Douglasville. And I'm not necessarily opposed, but you don't have a I don't know section. So that's really what I don't know enough about this. I know that I live off of Fairburn Road, and I know that now with the changes, in order for me to leave my neighborhood, which is Flowers Estates, I can't make a left-hand turn on 92. I have to go 1/4 mile out of my way and make a very dangerous U-turn. And there are 4 of them that I can choose from. And after 2 o'clock in the afternoon till about 6:30, you cannot go north on 92. So now we're talking about putting some more houses, and we need them desperately because we need affordable housing, and I want it. But I need you to understand that we may not be able to support it. You are putting this across the street from the Carlton. We've got the trails. We've got that studio. We've only got 4 lanes on 92. We can't maneuver. We are landlocked. In order for me to leave my neighborhood, I have to go through all these other neighborhoods, cut through, go through my neighbor's neighborhood, and then when I get to 92, now you're going to put another bunch of houses, and now I'm not going to be able to turn left again. So I'm going to have to keep going down the road, and I'm going to keep intruding into my neighbors' neighborhoods, and that's not fair to them. Then you've got Chestnut Log Elementary School. I don't know how many houses. I think someone just told me there might be 85 or 89 units. I don't know how many children are going to be there, but that little school can't hold it. As a former substitute teacher, I taught there a lot, and that school is tiny. Where are we going to put these kids? So before you decide, just take that into consideration. I'm not against it because we do need it. Just find a way to make it livable for those of us that are already here. That's all I ask. And best of luck to you. I really want that for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. We appreciate it. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? If you would approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and then 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sonia Compton, P.O. Box 5761, Douglasville, Georgia. I'm speaking in opposition to this complex. I've met with Mr. Murray, who's a very nice guy. It's very beautiful what they are proposing. It looks very nice. But we're talking about putting 84 units. And as the lady said previously, I live right off of Fairburn Road. I see the traffic coming in, like say from 2:30 to 6 o'clock. It is horrible. It is, you know, I guess they're coming from Atlanta, coming here, and it's car after car after car. It is terrible. Did anyone consider changing the infrastructure to accommodate the traffic? That needs to be considered. If you don't live over there, it doesn't affect you, but those of us that do, it does affect us. Also, has anyone spoken with anyone with the school board and found out what the impact of all these additional units will have on the school? You got the Carlton right across the street that's got about 800 units, I don't know, but it's a bunch. You got the trails right down the street. What impact does that have on our school system? Has anyone talked with anyone on the school system? I guess it's a rhetorical question. Has anyone spoken with anyone with the fire department? Can they accommodate? If there's an emergency, do we have the units, do we have the people, do we have the personnel that can come out and handle these situations? That needs to be looked into before you go and approve something like this. We have to take into consideration all of our citizens in this county. Now, a lot of people may not live over there, but they do travel that road coming home and going to work every day. That's just, it's horrible. And last but not least, we're talking about 84 units. 84 units, and I looked at them, they're very pretty, they look really good and all that, that's nice. But we have to consider the people who live over there, who travel on that road. Thank you, I know my 2 minutes are up.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of Mr. Fowler, the applicant, or staff on this matter?
Ms. Rob Thomas, I had a question for the applicant first.
Yes.
Kind of address some of the concerns. Traffic study.
Yes, sir. A traffic study
Start with that.
was done, and Mr. Murray, you want to talk about that traffic study? Or either the engineer, Ms. Brown?
If you'd state your name and address before you start.
Absolutely. I'm Zach Murray, 186 Parker Road, McDonough, Georgia. I also share the same sentiment. I'm kind of not one of those developers that's looking at just the dollar amount. I'm looking at the experience. So we did the traffic study ourselves, and the conclusion of that was there was not enough traffic for a traffic light. I'm willing to look at other options if that's possible, because I'm not only thinking about the experience of the citizens who live here, I'm also thinking about the new owners and guests that will be participating in that development as well. So we did have that consideration ahead of time, and the traffic study came back that it was not enough vehicles per hour in order to make any changes.
Okay. Another question while you're up. This is a unique PRD that we're doing, that we're proposing here. Have you done these before? And this is especially with the live, work townhomes. Have you done these before somewhere else?
Yes, I've seen the success of those. There's plenty of examples that are more popular, like you can look at Serenbe that has a lot of them. There are a lot in East Atlanta as well as the Interlock. I have seen the success of that. I've done mixed-use developments before. This result of a product actually came from your staff recommendation and some of the things that they've shown us about the middle missing home, which I'm actually a fan of and think it would be a very positive development here and not a product that's offered.
Okay, great. Back to the live, work townhomes.
Mm-hmm.
They're about 500 square foot is the size of the commercial side.
That's our guesstimate as of now. When we actually get into some engineering, there may be some possibility of larger. But if you can imagine like a small cafe or a salon, or even, some of the other smaller offices, it's not much needed to that. It's really more as an asset for those local residents.
Okay, so basically, for the residents to use it for their personal business or something like that?
And transit, correct, correct.
So could they sublet them out to other?
It's their property, so
Okay.
we wouldn't control that.
Okay, all right. And it's roughly 500 square foot is what you're looking at?
Give or take 500 to 800 square feet.
Okay, all right.
So that would accommodate your small cafe as well, if it was needed.
Okay, great. All right. I yield. Anybody have any questions?
Oh, yes.
Anything else, planning and zoning?
Yes, or Courier. Yes, I have a question. On these, what type of occupancy in the townhomes would be? Be 2-2, 2-1,
3-2,
3-2?
absolutely.
Okay. And do you have a price point that you're looking at those 3-2s? I know it's going to be, some of it's going to be in conjunction with those facilities underneath.
Correct. Well, the flex space would be a different price point than the townhomes.
Okay.
But we were looking at starting at the high threes, around 375 to 400.
Okay, so 400, okay.
Mhm.
Now, you said this would be a gated community. Have
Correct.
you got with the local, public safety and requiring fire and rescue access to get inside of that, especially in gated communities when there might be an emergency?
Absolutely. Our engineer could actually speak more to that. We actually modified our entire plan in order to accommodate the recommendations.
Okay, no further questions.
I just have one or two questions.
Sure.
You mentioned that all of the units would be for sale, right? The homes.
We are trying this out. I would love for it to be a fee simple, since this is a product that we are trying. I'm not sure in some of the manner that we have, like the quadplex being in there, whether the market would dictate a sale of a fee simple. So I would say it may be a mixture.
Reason I'm concerned is because we approved some units down further that were to be fee simple, and they end up being rentals, and so I'm really concerned about that aspect, because you have all of these apartments already, and that definitely would add to the traffic situation that we're talking about.
Yeah, no,
and the quality too. The quality.
And I do understand the concerns. Our preference is definitely to have a fee simple product, but in trying this middle missing house, when you have a variety of products within that area, the evaluation of what that value would be and who that would be, what I would not want is a empty product. So I would ask for some leverage in order to make that decision, like whether the flex space would be able to be accommodated out here, and whether that would be able to be a sale is something that we really haven't seen within the market. So I wouldn't want to be stuck in an area to where the market isn't caught up with it as of yet. I know you all have tremendous growth, so I definitely feel it will be of value eventually, but this is kind of a first through the door situation, so we're unsure of what that would be.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, planning and zoning? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the board for commissioners' questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, we have any questions at this time? Commissioner Kenner Jones, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This question is for Allison and maybe for legal. Because, and I apologize, but my brain is not working as well as it normally does. It's 8 o'clock at night. But in terms of conditions, we can't condition like a minimum or maximum number of units that can be for sale. That's something that would be up to their code covenants and restrictions. We wouldn't.
So we do have the provision under the code about a community that would be like a straight to rent community, right? And that does specify, I think, if more than 10% of the units are proposed to be rental, at the time that it's built, they would have to come to this board and seek additional approval under the special use permit. We don't otherwise have a great mechanism by which to control whether something is, fee simple, for sale, or for rent.
So what would a condition look like that would require them to come back for approval if they want to have more than 10% of the units be available for rent?
So I think that, I don't know that you would necessarily need to condition because you have the provision in the code. I think here's the thing that we don't have a great way of controlling, not just in Douglas County, but I would say, statewide at all. If, like, say, for example, we go back to, let me find this picture, right? If we go to, like, this quadplex unit, right? We would probably need more discussion with the board to understand if this is sold to, like, one person and that person or company leases out the individual units, that wouldn't necessarily be a violation of that provision of our code, right? And so the same thing, like when we talk about the live-work space, and Zach can tell me if I'm not getting the pictures right. But again, the idea is that maybe one unit would be sold to one person, right? And then that person could reside on the upper floors and use the space below for their own kind of home office use, or that whole unit that they could lease out the commercial space of the unit as well as lease out the residential space of the unit, right? So it's hard to use zoning to control whether something's going to be investor owned. And that's the conversation that we've had previously about that. I think that there's a difference between that model and maybe kind of like the one corporation owns the whole thing and leases each individual unit. So I think that what you have in the code under Article 3 about the more than 10% of the units, that controls for the latter, right? Where, like we saw with the Bridlewood project that Mr. Payne referenced, right? That is one entity that controls the entire project and they lease those units individually. That's what we have the mechanism under the code to control. What we have less ability to control is somebody who wanted to just come by one of those units and lease out individual spaces in those units. And I don't know if that was clear enough at 8 o'clock at night, so I apologize if we need further discussion on that.
Okay. Madam Chair, I yield back.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Kidder Jones. Any other? Commissioner Raxton's hand.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's up first?
No, no
You-
worry. No worry.
Okay.
All right, this is for the applicant. So for the architect. Engineer. The gentleman. Well, let me start with, you. Yeah.
Ms. Asia, thank
I
you.
can pivot my question here. So one of the things I did not see is the parking. So where is the parking gonna be, and is there like garages, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so I can go back to the site plan. So you'll see that there are 20-foot wide alleyways around the detached townhomes and the townhomes along the front. There are some that are 14-foot wide, so they're all rear entry homes. For the commercial, you'll see 10 parking spaces in that parking lot next to the commercial space, so people can access the retail from the sidewalk.
Okay, so it's a 10 for, when you talk about retail, I'm just thinking about, will there be traffic outside of the community that will utilize
Yeah,
the
so
retail?
the retail parking is outside of the gate. So there's a gate after the parking, the surface parking. And then once you enter that gate, then there's parking for the mail kiosk. You'll see next to kind of like that double row of townhomes in the gray. And then everything else is rear entry.
Okay, so I'm just trying to get a concept then, if someone is coming for retail and they has to park in the retail, how far would they have to walk to?
Not far at all. So if you see, and I don't know if I can, I wish I had a pointer,
Still
but
like that. Yeah.
there's a parking lot. If you look at the blue, the row of blue, the
Mhm.
parking lot is to the left of the row of blue. So there's also a sidewalk. You can't really zoom in, but there's a sidewalk that goes right there.
Okay.
ADA spaces and
Okay.
yeah.
All right, well, thank you for clearing up about the parking.
Yep.
My next question is, I know we had talked about as far as the price point for the 3-2 townhouses, and I was just curious as far as the price point for the single family. What does that look like?
I'll let that.
Okay.
Could you
Go
please
ahead.
come to the podium, please? Thank you.
The single family would start around 2,200 square feet to 2,300 square feet, and they would have the same. So it would still be around the low fours to mid fours for a single family.
Single family, okay. And what does the single family look like? What is that composition? Is that a 4-2, 4-3? Just trying to.
It would probably be a 4-2 and above. There may be a 3-2 with an office that I've also considered, but still within that same style of footprint.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And then I guess my last question, I know you said that you conducted a traffic study. I'm just curious, was there additional traffic studies done by the DOT, or you did this independently? I just want to make sure I get a clarification on who did the traffic study.
We did one independently.
Okay.
And we have been in discussions with DOT and staff on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not opposed to whatever we have to do in order to have traffic relief.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously I can't control what DOT will approve and do it myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe Allison, will there be another traffic study, or I just want to understand better from a DOT's perspective what's next steps here?
I can defer to Bruce Mercer for any of the questions about the traffic impact on that. And just conferring with legal about the question about the ownership, if we want to revisit that after DOT answers the questions about traffic.
Okay.
Yes, the traffic study that was submitted through DRC initially is sufficient. It meets everything that we were looking for. So there would be no need from our behalf to generate another one. And again, this is also a GDOT maintained road, and I know there's some probably questions in the back of our mind concerning a traffic signal.
Mm-hmm.
We've looked at the warrants. It's not warranted yet. We do understand that Highway 92 is saturated, but not to the point that GDOT's ready to improve that, and not to the point that it warrants a signal at this proposed location. Most of the traffic, as you'll look at the site plan, will probably, I'd say 70+% will want to turn right and go north. And when you do a traffic study, you remove your right turners because they just catch a gap and go. You're not waiting on a signal, so you have to, that even lessens the potential for a traffic signal.
All right, thank you for the explanation. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back, and I know that Managing Director had a follow-up to the previous question from Commissioner
Yeah, so we were
Kennedy.
just talking a little bit about what the options would be if we wanted to look at something that required fee simple ownership or condominium ownership for the project, and in lieu of that coming back. I think the recommendation would be, if you are concerned about that, to defer and allow legal to explore it. Again, I think it goes back to, and Mary can certainly address anything that I say incorrectly, we just don't have a great mechanism to control how ownership transfers. And that, when I say we, that's like the royal we in zoning. This is just not the tool that we have to control that going forward. But I think you could do some additional research about what other communities have done. We do have that provision about, the straight to rent community. So I think that would preclude the entire thing, from becoming a rental community, as was the case with the one that Mr. Payne pointed out that was further north on the property. But just wanted to put that on the table. That couldn't think of a solution quickly, but if you'd like more research to be done, we're happy to undertake that.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes,
You have the floor.
and Allison, if you stay there, just stay on that, because that was kind of where I was alluding, or where I was going with the fee simple structure there. So this project, where are we, so I can get a clear understanding? I understand the fee simple, the resident, the housing, the townhomes, duplex, blah, blah, blah. So the quadplex, we can't control that based off of a fee simple unless it was a townhome or a condo of some sort. Correct. But this particular project is based on a duplex or a quadplex for rental. That's how this would end up, correct?
Not necessarily,
Oh,
because
okay,
what
all
we
right.
do, so we have the overall development standards, if I understand your question correctly, we have the overall development standards, and it does specify certain, let me see if I can get back to it, you know, certain units they have to meet minimums, right?
Right.
So what you see on the plan here is that we've put in there that of all the single-family detached, those 2 units at minimum have to be quadplex units, right? And
Got
that
it.
within those
The
2
two
units.
that's in green there, I guess.
The 2 green units, right? And
Right,
so again,
gotcha,
what we've
got you.
tried to do is say we want to see a mix,
Mhm.
you know, of those coming in. So I think if I kind of understood your question correctly, what we're saying is that they are tied to this site plan, and as with anything tied to a site plan, any changes have to come back to this body to be, you know, reviewed and approved. But we've given them, with the exception of the live-work units, if we
Mhm.
find that there's not a market for the live-work unit, right, then they have some flexibility to convert that to be entirely
Got it.
residential. My feeling alone is that I do think that there is going to be a market for those small leasable, non-residential spaces. Because we, you know, just seeing the volume of business we process through occupational tax, you know, and the number of small businesses we have that I think need that next step up, I think it's worth taking a chance. But I just want to underscore what Zach said is we're putting some ideas out there that we've seen in other areas. I've heard you say, let's bring higher quality development to Douglas County. We found a developer who's willing to kind of work with us and take that chance.
Right.
So my recommendation is let's kind of work with the tools that we have, which would be that entire neighborhood, you know, going straight to rent, right? We have the ability to control that, but let's maybe kind of work with what we have and see where it goes. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, I totally understand and respect that, but you've heard me say before, zoning is just not a great tool to use if you're trying to control ownership or the characteristics who lives there, like, for example, affordability. What we can control is through building permit, through use types and things like that. So there is the way that I can say, hey, that building is going to be 4 complete single-family residential units, right? And we can regulate that through building codes and zoning codes. But in terms of who owns it and who
Right,
lives there,
right.
zoning is not the tool
I
to
got
use
it.
that to regulate.
I get it. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Any questions? Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Okay, Vice Chair, you have the floor.
This can be for the applicant or the engineer. Either one will be fine. The applicant or the engineer. So, in hearing a moment ago, when we was talking about the single-family homes, and Commissioner Raxon asked how many rooms are going to be in there, and it came back to say 4-2, possibly more. And you said the parking is in the rear?
Yes, rear entry. Yes.
Is there, or do they come with like a, you know, drive-in garage, or everybody
Yeah,
be parking
so,
outside?
attached garage.
How long are the driveways?
So that's something that we're still working through. We don't have an exact idea of how long the driveway is. If you kind of look at the picture, if you look at the back of the plan, you'll see that some of the buildings are a little bit more to the front, some of the buildings are a little bit more to the rear. Because we're just in the zoning phase, we don't have the exact building footprint in our drawing at the current moment, but it shouldn't be, I can give you a rough estimate, but I don't want to do that quite yet.
No, that's fine.
It shouldn't be, it shouldn't be too, it'll probably be to where the buildings are right now. So we have the square footage of the building, but we don't have the exact footprint in CAD quite yet.
Okay, where I'm going with this is, if it's a 4-2, and say everybody in that home owns a car, people are going to get tired of doing what I'm going to call the vehicle shuffle, and people are going to start parking on the roads. Well, what if we need to get one of our fire trucks down those roads, and people are parking on the roads? That's just a concern of mine.
No, I completely understand that. So we have multiple ways that you can reach the building. So we do have the 20-foot wide alleyways that go around, and so that is accessible for fire trucks as well. And if you also zoom in, I know it's kind of hard to see on the screen, we also have 32-foot wide radiuses on all of the alleyways, which isn't typical, but we did that for fire truck access.
Okay.
So fire trucks can reach all of the buildings from the road and the alleyways.
Okay, all right, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
And I hate to ask DOT to walk back up here, but when you sit in the back, everybody's going to pick on you like it does at church.
Sorry, my daddy was a pastor. I sat in the back.
You said that they turned in a traffic report, but that's down around their area. Have we looked in regards to currently the traffic further down that's coming from, we know we got the Carlton coming in, now this proposed subdivision, and your people trying to access to I-20. Have we looked at, the impact that we're having in regards to traffic coming down through there from those developments?
Yes, it actually, we had them combine the combination of the Carlton because they're immediately across from each other. So the traffic report included the volume from Carlton as well.
Okay, because the only reason I'm asking that is I sat from Midway Road to I-20 the other day for easily 15 to 20 minutes trying to get to the interstate. And I feel for those people. I will take back roads before I have to sit through that. And I'm just thinking about the quality of life for our residents, because some of that traffic's going to start being deferred back towards Slater Mill, down Presley Mill to get over that way. And it's just, I feel like we're not making headway in our infrastructure. We keep falling behind. We've been behind. We're trying to catch up, but at this rate, we'll never catch up. And God bless my commissioner in District 3. He's starting to feel it on Chapel Hill. It's coming. And the more, I just feel like the more of these units that we allow to come in, until we get some infrastructure stability in place and relief, it's lowering the quality of life for our citizens. And so I was just wanting to make sure that you guys also looked at that and get to I-20, because I'm not a good person to sit in traffic. And it took me almost 20 minutes to get from Midway onto the interstate. I wasn't happy. But anyway, all right, thank you for answering my question. I'll yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. If you could just remain standing for me. Can you share with us what the impact of Lee Road, with the east-west connector that's on the radar? Will it give us any relief, perhaps on Fairburn Road, and also, which is the 92? And I have questions regarding that. This is twofold. Do you feel that there will be some relief, some kind of way, particularly from the 20, as those citizens may want to exit off the 20 and just come all the way across to Chapel Hill?
Yes, once we get the Lee Road extension constructed, let's say you're traveling from the Atlanta area, there's really no need to continue to go down all the way to 92 or to Chapel Hill to try to access the Chapel Hill area or west of Chapel Hill. You could jump off at Lee Road and you'd have a multi-lane corridor that would carry you all the way to Chapel Hill as we continue to develop those. And it would bypass and help relieve some of the pressure along 92 and Chapel Hill as well.
Are there any plans, and you may not be able to answer this, from the state level to relieve the traffic or mitigate the traffic on the 92? Are there any plans for additional lanes, or what are we planning? And then I'll talk about two lights that, since I've been in office of my administration, put a light for Mount Vernon, which we really took a lot of heat about that particular light, and Riverside Drive, Riverside Drive, of course. So what are the plans for the state? And you can't probably speak for the state. Do you know if there are any plans? And I could ask if you all would just explore to see what their plans are for the future, because the county is not only, that 92 is not only utilized by Douglas County citizens, but they're used by the Atlanta folks that's going into Fulton County and in the other direction, of course. So
yes, I'm not aware at the moment of any immediate plans for any widening of 92. All that's based on traffic volumes. I think 92 at its worst capacity is probably 26,000 vehicles a day in its most northern section near the interstate. And then the further you go south, that's, as cars look for other alternatives to exit 92, the numbers dwindle. But at the moment, I don't, but I'll be glad to look into, see if there's any forecasting for some widening there.
And certainly we appeal to the state for Mount Vernon, a light there at 92 in Mount Vernon, and also at the Riverside Parkway area. I was able to speak to GDOT Commissioner McMurray and convinced him to look at a map and to, pull something up and just look at it on the screen, and he looked at it and said, uh-oh, I see what you're talking about. These other areas such as Flowers that was mentioned earlier,
Right.
that's the same traffic that's coming at those other lights. Are there any other opportunities for lights along that 92, or are those only the 2 lights that they would agree to? Because it's the same traffic.
It is, the way signals work, that they have to be spaced accordingly. I think GDOT uses if I remember, it's 1,300 and some change feet. So there's certain spacing that's required before they'll even allow or consider traffic signals, unless there's a road less than that distance that just generates an enormous amount of volume.
So it has to be distance.
I don't foresee anything immediately. Looking from I-20 south, I don't see anything immediately that would probably generate enough traffic to install another signal.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you saying you would check with the state to see
I'd be
what
glad
they're forecasting for the future is looking like for the 92, because it's just going to continue to bottleneck, and we know it's a problem.
I agree.
And it's a state road. Okay, thank you. Manager, if you could just come to the podium for a second.
Yes, ma'am.
If you could speak to our impact process regarding schools and the fire departments, and how, we're intentional when projects are coming. Can you speak to the process? So, because there were some questions,
Sure
I would
thing.
love for our citizens to understand the process, because I had the same question as they did.
Sure thing. No,
If
absolutely.
you could elaborate, thank you.
Yep, no problem at all. Thank you for the question. Because when we make our recommendations, it is based on impact statements that we get from a variety of different departments. The Board of Education does provide impact statements. In addition, we do have a Board of Education representative that sits on the Planning and Zoning Board, our DOT, our Engineering Department, our Water and Sewer Authority, our Fire Department, the Sheriff's Department. They all do provide impact statements. In addition to the impact statements that are provided in the record, there are multiple opportunities for various departments to weigh in on a project. So for a project like this, we have them come to DRC before they ever come to you. DRC is managed by our Deputy Director, Travis McDonald, and it includes representatives of Environmental Health, Water and Sewer Authority, Arborist Engineering, DOT, Planning and Zoning, Fire Department. So all of those departments sit around a table and provide courtesy feedback on a concept plan. So that's how with this plan that's in front of you, we moved the driveway to align with the Carlton based on the request from DOT. They have that straightaway 50-foot that you see there at the entrance of the project. That was a specific request from the fire department. And so we do get that feedback up front before we ever put a project in front of y'all to make sure that what you're looking at is at least viable in theory. And then beyond that, as soon as we get an application in, it goes on an agenda, and there is a pre-agenda meeting before we actually publish that agenda out to the Planning and Zoning Board and Board of Commissioners. So all of those same departments jump on a call before we set the final agenda and just share with us any red flags that they see about a project moving forward. So all of that is compiled. It is a part of the record, included in the staff report and available as a part of the permanent record, that we have all of those departments weigh in and provide feedback about what the impacts will be for a project.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on Z 2025-73?
It's Rob Thomas. I'd like to make a motion to approve Z 2025-73, Street Development LLC request for a rezoning from RLD and CH to PRD with all the conditions read in by staff.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Ms. Chris Small, second.
Thank you very much. I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving Z 2025-73 as read into the record with conditions, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Thank you very much. Motion carries. Madam Chairman, Z 2025-73 comes to the board with a recommendation for approval with the conditions that were read into the record.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve
Agenda item Z 2025-73 with the conditions as read in by staff.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, board?
I do have one thing, Madam Chair. I share the concerns about the traffic. I drive Fairburn Road every day, and I turn into a Marine as I'm coming across Lee Road from sitting, so I get it. But I want you to be aware, this is significantly less units than what could fit on that amount of acreage. So I am taking that into consideration in making this decision. The other thing is we have residents come all the time and they say our young people come here, they leave, and they don't come back. And I will say for millennials and the generation after, this development is what they are looking for. Because while the price point still seems a bit high, and I would encourage the developer to see what you can do, especially in the quadplexes and in the units that are over the residential, to get the price point down. You can pay a little bit more in your mortgage payment if you are building wealth, but you don't have the other additional home maintenance issues. And that is very appealing to people who are just starting out. Maybe you're a young family that just has one kid. This development makes sense. The other reason that I think that this can work in this area is because it reminds me of a development called Cameron Village in Raleigh, North Carolina. It is a very similar setup with high-end retail on the bottom, smaller purchase units, and the people that have been living there like this and enjoy that style of living. For Cameron Village has been there since my mom was a kid, so more than 50 plus years. At this point. So it's definitely, it's outside of the box, but it is something that can definitely work in that area. I also hear residents say all the time that we have no high-end retail, that Fairburn Road's corridor looks like something out of 1975. But in 500 square feet, you can fit a hot wax studio, you can fit Club Pilates, you can fit Salad Works. There's several different franchises that are looking for commercial space specifically of that size that Douglas County really does not have any available. And so that's giving us an opportunity to raise or generate more sales tax revenue, and in hopes that eventually we will be able to reduce your property taxes, because we can't just keep saying no to everything. And what I don't want to see over there is another unit or another complex that's the same size as the Carlton. Eventually, we're just not going to be able to say no to everything. And so those are the things that I'm considering in making this decision. But I also hate the traffic, and I hope that GDOT comes and does something about Fairburn Road, because it's not acceptable. Madam Chair, I yield back.
Okay, thank you. I would like to just add any other discussion. You have the floor,
Okay,
Commissioner.
thank you. All right,
Braxton.
thank you. So GDOT hears from me all the time, even in District 3. The traffic is untenable. I'm constantly asking for traffic studies, constantly asking to get more lights put up, constantly looking to reduce speeding. So we share these same concerns, not only in Fairburn, but throughout Douglas County. So this is something that we as a board are looking at collectively. But this is a development and a type of development that we're looking for, and we're going to be studying to come to District 3 in the future. We're looking for mixed income, mixed development with retail and housing. And all the time when we're in the community, we're sprouting Atlantic Station or Avalon or something where we're seeing that type of mixed use and bringing in those types of businesses, high-end retail, along with accommodating the residents and the income levels that we're looking to attract here in Douglas County. So with that said, that is why I also supported and second this particular petition, and we're going to be looking at it very closely. Because again, we're hearing the needs, and we know that there is a need. So we're hopeful that this is going to be very, very successful. And you also have our promise that we're going to stay on and continue to look at the traffic concerns here in Douglas County. With that, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay. Any other discussion, board? Certainly, the county is experiencing enormous growth pains, and I must say that this administration has been extremely committed to making sure that we galvanize and address the transportation infrastructure here in Douglas County. For example, the 92 on the north side of our town, which is New Horizon, that was a 60-year project. It took 60 years. That project sat there before your new members and the board arrived in office, and we cut a ribbon. And that was a lot of talking, 60 years, and then we delivered. And then Lee Road is a 40-year conversation, and we made that happen. And we will continue to make things happen by being innovative, sitting at the table, building relationships, and making sure that Douglas County is prepared for the future. We do have a young generation. Unfortunately, they don't want a single house and a picket fence and a yard. They like the microwave approach, or should I say things quick, fast, and easy. So I understand it. I wish I was in that generation, so maybe I can rest instead of paying someone to do my yard every year, every 2 weeks or every week. So I want to be open-minded about this project. I want to think outside the box with knowing that we're doing something. If we were not doing anything with our infrastructure, I'll pause for the cause. But right now we have some big projects under wraps. Lee Road is, I believe, is it, Bruce? Lee Road is about a $32 million project. Is that $32 million? So that's a $32 million project that the citizens of this county is just putting money on the table through SPLOST and other means to make sure that these projects go forward. So we're committed to changing Douglas County's infrastructure. It takes time. You know, when I arrived, I will consider this has been ground zero, and we've worked our way up. You had nothing. If you think about 10 years ago, what it looks like now, there's not any comparison. So thank you all for thinking. Have a P&Z manager, thank you for being forward-thinking in this county. Okay, if there's nothing else, Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. All opposed? We have a 4-1 vote, and the motion carries. All right, we're going to move. I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Our next agenda item, please, Mr. Cronin.
Would you like me to begin?
They're exiting the building, out of the room. Okay, let's go ahead to the next agenda item, S 2026-01.
Yes, sir. This is a special use permit, S 2026-01, to allow for outdoor storage at 13950 Veterans Memorial Highway. The lot is about 2 acres in Commission District Number 4. 12,112 square foot, single dock warehouse building built in 1986 is sited. Gravel parking lot serves the warehouse building where the loading dock is located. Paved parking lot serves the warehouse building in the front where an office will be located. The applicant's requesting the outdoor storage on the site for a movie production and set design with light fabrication on the inside of the office or the warehouse building. And you may be familiar with this property. It was brought to you in approximately July or June of last year, where the applicants do not have an end user defined. We've taken a look at the relevant code sections. The prior zoning action in 2024, the use case was not defined. There's no active occupational tax certificate on this property, and it does not appear that outdoor storage was an accessory use on this property per historic aerials. This section of Veterans Memorial Highway, however, the applicants intend to utilize an already installed fence that meets the standards for fencing and screening of the outdoor storage per Article 3 of the Unified Development Code. An expansion of structures, parking lots, or storage areas would have to abide by any setbacks as defined in Article 3 of the Unified Development Code for the Light Industrial Zoning District. These will be reviewed at the Development Review Committee when appropriate. We've taken a look at the special use criteria. It's currently zoned light industrial, and here's a picture of the site aerial as it's been developed. The applicant has provided a few renderings. They're proposing shipping containers at the rear within the setbacks of the outdoor storage. It's in the Workplace Center future land use and the Winston character area. Staff's recommending approval with conditions based upon the findings. Number 1, that the proposed use would not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan. Number 2, the proposed use would not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the Unified Development Code. And number 3, the proposed use would not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. Staff is recommending the following conditions. Number 1, at the discretion of the Douglas County Engineer, the applicant shall submit to the Development Review Committee for review and consideration of the specific site development and access management plans to address the development standards in the Unified Development Code and the concerns and requirements expressed in the specific agency impact statements reviewed in the staff report dated January 6, 2026. Number 2, the incompatible use buffer where abutting residentially zoned property should not be reduced below the required 50 feet or 30 feet if a structural zoning buffer at least 8 feet in height is installed. And number 3, the applicant shall provide a landscaping plan that includes a minimum of 3 canopy trees, 3 understory trees, 2 evergreen trees, and 18 shrubs to provide an opaque screen subject to the discretion of the Douglas County arborist. And condition number 3 comes from the quality growth overlay to mirror that standard. And that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cronin. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, including the applicant or the applicant's representative, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes per person for a total allocated time of 15 minutes. State your name and address for the record, sir.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, Commissioners, and Planning and Zoning Board members. My name is Donnie Dean. I live in Atlanta, 375 Highland Avenue Northeast. I'm here to represent Spectrum of ATL LLC. We're requesting a special use permit for outdoor storage at this industrial warehouse. We took possession of this property about a month ago now. We agree with the conditions presented by the planning and zoning staff. The storage will be properly screened and maintained in accordance with county regulations to preserve the area's appearance. And we are in the film and television industry, so the appearance of our facilities is really important to us. We're committed to meeting all requirements and addressing all concerns. Your approval will support storage for manufactured props for the television and film industry, contributing to Douglas County's growth and economic opportunities. And thank you guys for your consideration, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dean, for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, Sabina Kelly, Box 536, Winston. I did go by and see the building and the area that we're talking about. I'm okay with it, and I couldn't read all the little stipulations that zoning has said to go with, but I like the way it looks right now because there's huge fence and you can't see all the storage stuff. As long as it doesn't look like the rest of Veterans Memorial Highway, I'm okay with this. But it's got to keep having some kind of landscape in front of it or something to make it look like a decent neighborhood instead of a dump. Appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition, please approach the podium. Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of Mr. Dean or of staff? Hearing none. Madam Chairman, I will throw it over to you for any questions the commissioners may have.
Board of Commissioners, you have any questions?
Not so much a question, but a comment. Thank you for fixing up that place. It looks 1,000 times better, and I know you're going to continue to improve it, so I just want to say I pass by there every day. It looks a lot better, and thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, we just moved to the area, and we love Douglas County, so we're happy to be here.
Amen.
I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other questions, board? Okay, I yield back to you.
Thank you very much. Planning and Zoning Board, you have heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on S 2026-01, please?
It's Brandon Penman. I make a motion to approve application S 2026-01, a request for a special use permit to allow outdoor storage at 1395 Veterans Memorial Highway.
It's Melissa Polk, I second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Do I have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving S 2026-01 with the conditions that were read into the record, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous with the board. Madam Chairman, S 2026-01 comes to you with a unanimous recommendation for approval with conditions.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve S 2026-01 with all the conditions read in by staff.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries.
Thank you very much. Best of luck to you. You have really improved that property. I go by that quite often myself. Next agenda item, please.
Agenda item Z 2026-02.
Oh, wait, hold on a minute. Let's get Rob back in here. Could somebody? He had to remove himself for business reasons.
Oh, okay. Oh.
There you go. Okay. I'm sorry. Go
No
ahead.
worries, no worries. Agenda item Z 2026-02. Applicant is requesting a rezoning from PUDC, Planned Unit Development with Conditions, to Residential Agricultural for a single-family home located on Country Manor Drive. The lot size is approximately 9.7 acres in Commission District 3. Vacant parcel is approximately 9.63 acres. The parcel is adjacent to several occupied single-family homes in the Bear Creek Club subdivision. The applicant proposes the rezoning of the parcel from PUDC to RA to support the construction of a single-family house. The applicant proposes to occupy the home once constructed. Here are the relevant code sections. Here are the prior zoning actions for this parcel. The subject parcel is the former driving range of a failed golf course in the Bear Creek Golf Club community. The original approval of the PUD was granted in May of 1997 per application Z 1997-30. The Bear Creek Golf Course community was proposed to include 481 residential units along with a clubhouse, golf course, driving range, tennis courts, playground, picnic shelter, swimming pool, and trails. The project was proposed to be set in ample green space and be comprised primarily of single-family detached lots. Today, only about half of the residential lots, about 215, were platted in the project. The golf amenities fell in the early 2000s. The HOA maintains a swimming pool, tennis amenity, and a small clubhouse. The site was taken over by the Southern Conservation Trust in 2017 after the golf course failed. The Southern Conservation Trust is developing the land of the former golf course and adjacent undeveloped land into the Little Bear Creek Nature Preserve. Here are the zoning criteria. Here's the zoning map. Here's the site aerial. Here's the site survey showing the house or the proposed house. Here are the future land use map and character area. Staff is recommending approval with condition based on the following findings. The proposed rezoning will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan. The proposed rezoning will not adversely affect the public health, safety, and welfare. Staff recommends the following condition. Upon approval, the applicant is permitted to construct only one detached single-family home and any appropriate accessory uses as listed in the UDC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone, including the applicant, that would like to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes per person for a total of 15 minutes. State your name and address for the record, sir.
And I thought all these people were here for me. My name is Jeff Filippo. I reside at 1067 Woodruff Plantation Parkway in Marietta, Georgia. So I am the proud owner of this 10-acre lot that we're talking about here in Douglas County, and I'm here today to respectfully request that my property be rezoned. I purchased the property in good faith in 2024, late 2024, based on its representation as residential property. I actually got on the Douglas County website and looked it up and found it as zoned R4 residential property. My intention from the very beginning has been simple and straightforward. I want to move out of Marietta, out of, for the last 25 years, my wife and I have lived in communities with, half-acre lots or 1-acre lots and a home. We want land. We want to be able to spread out. We want to be able to enjoy nature. And so this property allows us to do that, being the quiet rural character of this part of Douglas County. So I spent about the last year working with a builder to get all my ducks in a row, get everything picked and all of that. And we got everything done and signed. He went to apply for the building permit and found out it is zoned PUD C. And so that put a stop on it back in November of last year. And so after reviewing the documents that you've got, for this meeting from Developmental Services, I believe they provide with clarity that my request is consistent with the surrounding area. It's in alignment with the county's comprehensive plan. There is no adverse impact on public services, and it actually restores the practical and realistic use of the property. I can go into any of those line items in more detail, but it's kind of redundant at this point. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, before you go, there was one condition. Are you in agreement with that condition?
I am in agreement with that condition, although I did have a question. I saw on the directive to staff, it says that they will, planning and zoning is to tell the applicant to bring the property in compliance with all relevant sections of the UDC. And so my question, I guess, maybe for zoning staff would be, are there currently any known code or ordinance violations that I'm unaware of? Okay.
So
Do we
short
need to answer this now after we close the public
well,
hearing?
that's up to you.
Okay.
Okay, yes, as far as building.
Put a pin in that.
Got it.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Seeing no one moving, I close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one moving again, I'll close the public hearing. Now, we get to the planning and zoning questions and answers. Ms. Duncan, could you?
Yeah, so there were not any code violations that were submitted to us as a part of the impact statements from the Code Enforcement Department. So right now there are no violations. Again, that language is just boilerplate language. We make it clear it is a directive to staff. It is not a condition of zoning, that we just kind of keep an eye on the property for the first 12 to 24 months and make sure that everything's done in
Correct.
compliance. Otherwise, as y'all know, we can we can bring the property back to you to revert the zoning. So that's what that language is in there to show.
Thank you very much.
So, Allison-
And that's pretty standard for most of our conditions, is we ask the staff to, at the 1 year point, to check with the property to make sure everything's going according to code.
Okay.
It's actually in all of our staff reports.
All of our staff reports, that's right. Okay, planning and zoning staff, do you have any questions of Ms. Duncan or the applicant?
Sure, quick question. So this is considered down zoning in this case?
Yes, sir.
In a sense, PUD, just the residential?
I would consider it a PUD amendment.
Okay.
Right, and so again, PUD, planned unit development or planned residential development, those are tied to the site plan. You'll recall when the golf course transitioned to a nature preserve, we made them come back and do the exact same process because again, on that site plan, it is shown as a golf course, right? And so So to change that to a nature preserve, they had to come through and they had to ask for the exact same permission here. This is shown on the site plan as the driving range that's a part of a golf course. So that has the same enforcement as zoning. So it is a change of use. So it's I would call it a PUD amendment or a use amendment, more so than a down zoning, if you will.
In the one condition is there have to be one single family. What obviously you can put a barn or a
Sure,
other
one single
things.
family home and all of the accessory
Accessories or
uses
whatever.
that would be
Okay.
considered under the code.
Okay. Is there any streams going through this? I'm just kinda curious. Any streams or lakes or?
Are you aware? I'm deferring to the county engineer back there. I don't, it was a driving range, so I'd be surprised
Okay.
if there were streams back there. When we've looked at the aerials going back to the time it was still in active use, I don't think there's anything that shows up on that, and you can see very clearly the lawn going down to the corner of the property. So unless Travis stands up to walk this way to tell me differently, I don't know of any environmentally sensitive features that would preclude the use as a single-family residence.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I yield.
Any other questions, planning and zoning? Hearing none, I'll throw it to the Board of Commissioners for any questions you folks may have.
Okay. Commissioner Braxton, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. To the applicant, just curious in regards to your timeline as far as construction and what is that looking like?
I have a builder right now waiting on the building permit. And so I did have, it says here that the planning and zoning will direct the applicant to the DRC. And I'm curious, what is that process? Because my builder is ready to go right now. And it's actually a builder that has built another home about 3 miles north of us in Douglas County. So he's familiar with all of this.
Just to clarify that, I do believe that the applicant has started their building permit, and in the case of a single-family detached residential structure, that would be administrative approval. So once we have the zoning change going forward, we can just move that through the walkthrough.
Okay. And then the last question, Allison, for you, would the applicant be required to be part of the HOA? Would they fall under the umbrella of the HOA?
Yes, sir.
They would not? Okay. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay. Any other questions, board? Okay. No questions. I yield the floor back to
Okay,
you.
thank you very much. If you have a seat, sir. Planning and zoning board, you've heard the discussion. Do we have a motion on, where is that? Z 2025-02.
This is Melissa Polk. I make a motion for approval of agenda item Z 2026-02 for request of rezoning from a PUDC, planned unit development with conditions to a RA residential agriculture for a single-family home located at County Manor Drive, Douglasville.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the request Z 2026-02 with the condition, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chair, Z 2026-02 comes to you with a unanimous recommendation for approval.
Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve Z 2026-02, request for rezoning.
Is it
With
02?
conditions as read in by staff.
Is it 02 or 01?
02.
02.
Two. All right, okay. Just make sure. Okay.
With conditions as read in by staff.
Okay, I got it, that's fine. All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, Vice Chair, you have the floor.
You just really wanted that so you could have your own private driving range to improve your golf game. I mean, let's just admit it. I mean,
It's actually amazing. I would have never guessed that this was a driving range because it's totally wooded with 60-foot pine trees just covering the property. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I yield back, Madam Chair.
Oh, good.
It's been a while.
Beautiful. Okay, we have. Any other discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Glad to have you as a new Douglas County resident. Looking forward to
Oh,
it.
yes.
This is our forever home.
All right.
All right. Next agenda item, please. It's another double whammy.
My eyes, please. Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. So our next agenda item is Z 2026-05 and S 2026-06. This is a request for a rezoning from residential low density to CH heavy commercial and a special use permit to allow auto sales and service at 11111 Veterans Memorial Highway. The lot is 1.83 acres and it's in Commission District Number 1. The 1,083 square foot single family detached residence is sited. The property abuts the Lakeside Manufactured Home Park to the west and the W.J. Wallace subdivision to the south and the east. The property abuts an established automotive repair and maintenance facility at 11101 Veterans Memorial Highway with a 4,636 square foot building sited, and I'll show you on the aerial what that looks like. The applicant is asking for a used car dealer and a repair and maintenance facility. So the proposed use is not supported by the comprehensive plan or the Lithia Springs small area plan unless the larger mixed-use development or non-residential uses must be established in a pattern that maintains the integrity of established residential property. The site does not provide for adequate acreage for an increase in intensity of scale that would allow for adequate buffering and off-site mitigation. The proposed use represents a saturation of automotive repair and used car dealer uses within a 1 mile radius. Additional automotive-oriented uses that are not modifications to legacy uses should be closely scrutinized along Veterans Memorial Highway. There are currently 5 active automotive repair uses, with one of these uses qualified to be authorized for heavy trucks to the north of Veterans Memorial Highway within a 1 mile radius of the site. Among these, 3 are authorized for used car dealing. And while Veterans Memorial Highway is a historic audio trail that was constructed prior to the interstate system and has legacy audio-oriented uses, the establishment of new automotive uses not permitted by right deserves additional scrutiny as a part of taking stock of the existing land use pattern of Veterans Memorial Highway and planning for the future. We've taken a look at zoning criteria and the special use permit criteria. It's residential low density as currently, and it abuts the manufactured home park to the west, a single family detached to the south and the east, and a used car dealer to the east as well. There's a home sited to the south currently. The applicant's proposing at least a part of the application initially submitted 2 5,000 square foot metal buildings with brick veneer, so not metal sided, and a stormwater detention pond. The applicant has revised the site plan that wasn't submitted as part of the application. Staff received this, so the impact statements are not based off of this, but the applicant is proposing 1 5,000 square foot automotive repair and maintenance facility with used car sales as an accessory use. And the applicant has provided elevations with brick veneer shown. It's in the mixed-use corridor, future land use, and the Veterans Memorial Highway professional corridor. Staff's recommending denial of the rezoning request based upon the following findings. Number 1, the rezoning would modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan. Number 2, the rezoning is not supported by new or changing conditions not anticipated by the comprehensive plan. The land use pattern along this section of Veterans Memorial Highway has largely remained unchanged since the adoption of the comprehensive plan in 2023. And number 3, the rezoning would adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. Staff's recommending denial of the special use permit based upon the following findings. Number 1, the proposed use represents a saturation of the use within a 1 mile radius that does not reflect a desirable pattern for development along this section of Veterans Memorial Highway. Number 2, the proposed use will modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan. And number 3, the proposed use would adversely affect the public health, safety, and welfare. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cronin. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone, including the applicant or the applicant's representative, that would like to speak in favor of the application, you'll have 2 minutes per person for an allocated time of 15 minutes. You would state your name and address for the record.
My name is Ruben Anyepu, and I reside at 6702 Norwood Circle in Arbor Station, Douglas here. And I was a building official for Douglas County, associate building official for 10 years here. And I alone inspected this building from mud to the best for it. That was just a private additional information there. Ladies and gentlemen, I was kind of perplexed by what the planning and zoning representative put for you, because we had 1 meeting with the departments, which was supposed to be customary. And during that meeting, we had 2 buildings. And at some certain point, it was supposed to have been connected in order to make it contiguous. So after the meeting, I picked up all the comments from everybody. And then based on the comments, we went back and revised the drawings. So I'm amazed that somebody stood up and said that they didn't submit it. I personally submitted the drawing, the revised drawing. So we have a 5,000 square feet building, standalone, that measures 100 by 50 feet in depth. Why it is so is because the fire department raised the issue of fire protection and all that, their requirements. So we brought it down exactly to 5,000 square feet, and then we complied with a height, maximum height of 20 feet, which was also a recommended height by the fire department. Now, as far as the site is concerned, Austin, is there any way I could put up the site plan that provided, please? Yes. Okay. Looking at the site.
Okay. Your 2 minutes is up.
Oh, it is?
Yes, sir. But if you would stand by, let me have the rest of the public hearing, and then I'm sure we'll get back to you, and we can go forward with this. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Again, seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing on this matter. Now, Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of the applicant or of staff?
I have some of staff.
Yes, sir.
I just want to get a better clarity as to the reason for the non-recommendation. It's not so much the square footage of the building or the elevation of the building. That's not the issue, right?
Yes, sir. The main issue would be the saturation of the uses. We don't feel like it represents.
So there's several car lots close by?
Yes,
1
sir.
mile, like a 1 mile radius, or, okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. And the properties within the highway corridor overlay, so the elevations provided would comply with the highway corridor overlay that requires brick at the front.
Okay, so the facade needs to be brick. You're saying at the front needs to be brick?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that has something to do with the, okay, go ahead, what else?
So the main considerations are the encroachment into the existing single-family detached and the mobile home or the manufactured home uses. The primary characteristic of this section of Veterans Memorial Highway is that the commercial uses typically don't have the depth that this lot does, and so it doesn't share the same characteristic of the existing commercial uses where the distance from the existing residential is maintained to adequately mitigate off-site impacts. And it also represents that saturation of uses along this course.
What is the buffer between this? Is it 50 foot or
Yes,
25?
sir.
50 foot between this and the residential?
Yes, sir. We're abutting.
And you're concerned about the depth, that it encroaches deep, like I see like 3 or 4 different houses on both sides, that it just encroaches too much in the residential space.
Yes, sir. We feel like if commercial use were proposed in this lot, it would be better served as as an assemblage, possibly to transition some of the uses and to better mitigate off-site impacts with greater acreage, possibly more spacing.
Is there a minimum acreage for car lots here in Douglas County? Is there a minimum acreage?
The minimum acreage for the commercial there is, but not for car lots or used car dealers or new car dealers.
There's no minimum acreage?
Yes, sir. No.
Okay. Because the city does have it. I don't know if you wasn't sure if this county did. Okay, so that's the main thing, is the look, the encroachment, and the saturation of this particular type of business.
Yes, sir.
On this area. 'Cause I see plenty of them on Veterans Memorial, but you're saying that that's the problem. It's too many already, and doesn't really fit the character anymore.
We believe that we could hold out the land for something better.
Understand. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I yield.
Any other questions, Planning and Zoning? I would go ahead and ask you if you just finish your presentation there that you had.
Okay. As far as the setbacks are concerned, it gives you 2 options. either to mitigate that with a fence, 8-foot barrier fence, or you maintain a 50-foot service. So we opted to erect a 8-foot fence around the property, which met their requirement. As far as noise, they raised something about noise. We are wrapping the building construction is better of brick and CMU, 8-inch CMU. So it has an STC value, sound absorbent value, 56. That's about the highest. So there couldn't be any noise emanating from that building into the surrounding area. Now, the third thing is that development actually is a definite improvement to what is there now, because everything surrounding property there, structures, they all run down, And then, of course, coming into our building, because of the DOT requirements, so we had to center the entrance into the property so that we can get adequate decel and adequate access out of the property so that we don't endanger anybody. And there's a gully in front of there. So we are trying to clean up the entire area. We are going to use precast tilt-up brick, and that is as good as it's going to get. Anything. So we don't. We feel that we've complied with pretty much everything, and there's existing water in the property, and we've shown everything. Then, because of the fact that there's no sewer, Water and Sewer Authority doesn't have any sewer service along there. Of course, we're going to install a septic system, and we have an adequate drain field in the back. So we've satisfied pretty much everything that they required of us.
Okay.
Thank
you very much.
I have another question from staff. Unless they have a question. What is to the northeast? What is that building? What kind of commercial building is that?
That's an automotive repair facility.
That's an automotive repair right
Yes, sir.
there? Okay. And so to the west, what we have there?
That's a manufactured home park, the
Okay,
lakeside.
So we have commercial on both sides.
Well, the manufactured home park is
Well, I'm sorry, say again?
The manufactured home park is R-MH, so it's still residential in character.
Okay, so where's your commercial other than the top right corner?
So there's the northeast portion, and then to the north of Veterans Memorial Highway is more of the industrial uses, like the heavy truck
Across the street,
facility.
across the street of it, you
Yes,
say?
sir.
Okay. All right, and rest is all residential, running on both sides and behind?
Yes, sir, to the south.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's what I mean.
Any other questions, planning and zoning? Do you have nothing, Melissa? Oh, okay. At this point in time, I'll throw it to the Board of Commissioners for questions and comments.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions, Board? Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
Well, yes, to the applicant. Just so your plans with this is for used car auto sales
Pretty much.
and repair.
Yes, there's a repair area in the building, and the repair is actually, it's incidental to the car sales. So, but just with the minor repairs and things like this, it's not that we're going to start repairing engines and making a lot of mess. So so it is, the repair is incidental to the car sales.
I apologize. I'm struggling with trying to understand what you're trying to say. So you want to do used car sales.
Yes.
And
As a principle.
if that's the principle.
Yeah.
And you'll repair cars as that's going to be the side part of what you're going to be doing, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. And you think this would be the highest and best use based on where this property sits, because I know exactly where it is. And with all the residential around it, I know there's a commercial piece that sits on the upper right.
Yeah. And that's one across the street.
Yes, and across the street, yes.
And even the mobile home community to our left is quite a busy area. As a matter of fact, they use our property now as a temporary, detention pond, because they dump all their water into our property. We are really trying to develop the area, and it is going to be extraordinary when it's done.
And you're thinking that that's the highest and best use would be what you're trying to ask for the special land use?
Yes, that's what we're trying to accomplish with that.
Okay. And, okay, thank you again. And now I would like to get staff, I guess, and I don't know.
Yes, sir.
And I understand the recommendation based off of staff and what you guys are proposing. What would you guys, the highest and best use, I'm assuming you're saying that this would not be the highest and best use for this type of service on this piece of property, correct?
Yes, sir. The Lithia Springs Small Area Plan calls for either redevelopment of properties at a larger, like an assemblage, or redevelopment of properties to accommodate maybe a smaller footprint, higher density of residential uses where appropriate. And so we wouldn't support the transition of this property from residential to another category at this time.
Understood, understood. And this is pretty interesting, and I guess so with that, okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm just,
Yes,
I have another thought in my mind is running on this. I'm really trying to, what kind of conversations have you had with the applicant to kind of get him to understand the direction of planning and zoning and our future land use, looking into the future, what it looks like for that piece of property?
Yes, sir. He met with the Development Review Committee, I believe, last month or November. Timeline's a little fuzzy for me because of the holidays. But we provided our comments at that time, pretty much the same as they are here. We wouldn't be able to recommend approval of the transition here. We haven't gotten into the form as to what would be ideal, but we just told him that we wouldn't be able to recommend approval of the transition to commercial.
Yes, understood. Because I think I heard the applicant state that somehow there was a mix-up in what he presented from 2 buildings to 1 building, that we got it within the timelines of what, I'm not sure. Can you help enlighten me on that part of it?
Yes, sir. As far as I'm aware, this site plan with the 2 buildings is what was submitted initially as a part of the application. And so the applicant revised and sent this site plan to me, I believe yesterday, or, I believe it was yesterday, yes, sir.
Okay.
So this is the first time that we've really looked at this. The impact statements would be based off of the 2 buildings.
Got it. And it's not that if it's 1 or 2 buildings, it's kind of where it is, and it's not at the highest and best use in that particular area.
Yes, sir.
On that particular lot, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you kindly.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And thank you, the applicant. All right, I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other questions, board? Okay. Don, I yield the floor back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion? Actually, there's two items here. Zoning and the special use permit. Do I have a motion on the zoning Z 2026-05?
Mr. Brandon Penman, I make a motion to deny application Z 2026-05.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Rob Thomas, I second.
I have a motion and a second. We have any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of Z 2026-05, motion to deny, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. All opposed? Madam Chairman, C 2026-05, the zoning application comes to you all with a recommendation for denial.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to deny application Z 2026-05.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of denial, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for denial. I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you, Madam
Simmons.
Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, do I have a motion on S 2025-06, special use permit?
It's Brandon Penniman. I make a motion to also deny S 2025-06.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
It's Melissa Polk, I second.
A motion and a second, do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion to deny S 2025-06, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous, Madam Chairman. S 2025-06, special use permit comes to you with a unanimous recommendation for denial.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to deny S 2025-06 in the form again of denial.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of denial, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for denial. I yield the floor back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Next agenda item, please, S 2026-09.
Okay, yes, sir. So S 2026-09, this is a request for a special use permit to allow outdoor storage of landscaping equipment at 11411 Veterans Memorial Highway. The lot is 1.25 acres. This is in Commission District Number 1. The site has no active occupational tax certificate, but was the former site of Atlanta Tree and Stump Removal, a contractor's office with outdoor storage, whose use was entitled in 2000. The natural zoning buffer has been thinned by previous owners of the property, and this zoning buffer is where it's abutting residential. It should be 50 feet and undisturbed, and that's meant to provide an audio and visual buffer to mitigate off-site impacts where it's abutting residentially zoned property. A 1,094 square foot structure is cited. The applicant's proposing a landscape supply store that will utilize both outdoor display and outdoor storage, and to continue the tree and stump removal used previously on the property. The applicants are also proposing to use the existing structure on the site without modification. We've taken a look at the relevant code sections. In 2000, this property was zoned from C3 to C4, now CH, for a tree and stump removal company. Entitling the outdoor storage on the site will define the outdoor storage area and provide for adequate screening and landscaping to mitigate off-site impacts. And submission of a site plan that defines the outdoor display area, outdoor storage area, vehicular access, circulation, and parking may necessitate more technical feedback as the sufficiency of the site is currently designed and outfitted, but this would be discussed at the Development Review Committee meeting pending approval. We've taken a look at the special use criteria. It's currently zoned heavy commercial. Here's a picture of it as it's currently sat. The buffer at the rear, or at the east, you can see has been thinned where it abuts residential property. The survey is a little too old to read correctly. The property is in the mixed-use corridor, future land use, in the Veterans Memorial Highway professional corridor. Staff's recommending approval with conditions based upon the findings. Number 1, that the proposed use will not modify the intent, purpose, or spirit of the comprehensive plan or the Unified Development Code. Number 2, the proposed use will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. And number 3, any deficiencies of design of the site as currently prepared will be addressed through the Development Review Committee process. Staff's recommending the following conditions. Number 1, the applicant shall install and maintain a 50-foot undisturbed zoning buffer where abutting residentially zoned property. Sufficiency of screening and type of plantings will be at the discretion of the Douglas County Arborist. And number 2, the applicant shall submit to the Development Review Committee for review and consideration of the specific site development and access management plans to address the development standards in the Unified Development Code and the concerns and requirements expressed in the specific agency impact statements reviewed in the staff report dated January 6, 2026. And that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cronin. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please approach the podium. Have 2 minutes per person for an allocated time of 15 minutes. State your name and address for the record, and then 2 minutes, sir.
How are you?
Okay.
My name is Mario Garcia, and I live in 5884 Garner Road in Mableton, Georgia. And actually, we just bought the place on the Veterans Memorial, and our goal, me and my wife, wants to do landscape supply. to sell materials like mulch, gravel, and some rocks, you know. So I think that's gonna be a first business that we're trying to create it. So we each other, I think we are young, so we're trying to be, you know, to keep going, you know, so in the life. So I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, before you go, the conditions that he read into the record, are you in agreement with those conditions?
Yeah, I agree on.
Comply with them?
Agree on.
If it's approved?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Garcia. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Okay, no one's moving. I'll close the public hearing on this matter. Planning and Zoning Board, do you have any questions of Mr. Garcia or staff?
This is Melissa Polk. I have a question for the applicant.
If you'd come back to the podium.
So I see here on the agenda, it states that it says a use permit to allow outdoor storage of landscaping equipment. In what you had just described, it was more you were providing mulch, rocks, things of that nature.
Yeah, actually, it's gonna be the landscaping equipment is gonna be there, and but we trying to sell the materials, like divided by the materials on bins, blocks, and trying to sell the.
Right, so you're not just using it for a storage area, you're using it to have persons to come on that
landscape supply,
property and
exactly.
purchase things.
Yep.
Okay, and with that being said, the property, is it fenced in? Is the property
They
currently
got an old
fenced?
fence already there, but we're trying to replace it. So for the same size, you know. So.
Okay, thank you. I have a question for staff, if I could please.
Yes, ma'am.
So in this particular property that we have, it is saying it's not just for storage now, it has merchandise for purchase, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that change any of the things that we're talking about? Because seeing as how on the agenda, he was just asking for storage. But now he's stating that he's going to use that property to allow persons to come and purchase off of that. Does not change the nature of the request?
Not necessarily. The outdoor storage would be the only one that would need to be entitled. The outdoor display area would just need to be set back a certain distance, and it's regulated under a different section, but it doesn't require additional board approval.
And the fact that they're, like the fencing that he states is there currently, you have things there that could be stolen, bringing theft and things of that nature. Are those, I guess my concern is that when I read the agenda item, that the agenda item put my mindset in, I'm thinking of someone wanting to store some material, some equipment. Now it's product that's for purchase, and I just want to make sure that everything is covered as far as security, making sure those that other businesses that are around, things like that they're securing this particular item, because people want landscaping stuff. It's fairly sought after.
Yes, ma'am. The sheriff did recommend in their impact statement some kind of video surveillance system. Staff didn't include that as a condition, but we can definitely include that if it is the will of the board. The fence that's currently out there, I believe it's chain link, so that wouldn't be permitted under the Unified Development Code requirements. In 2000 it might have been, but currently it would not be permitted. So they would have to install a different type of fencing. And then the outdoor storage area would have to be defined, fully screened from view by an opaque fencing as well.
And was the fence mentioned specifically in these conditions?
Oh, sorry. No, ma'am, they were not, or the fence was not. But the applicant would have to appear before the Development Review Committee, where we typically discuss site design.
Understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions, planning and zoning? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the Board of Commissioners for questions, comments.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, we have any questions? Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes, just a couple of questions, because this is a long day. Okay. So speaking of the fencing, you're saying you're going to replace the fencing to?
Actually, that's an old fence there.
Right, yes.
And, but it's all the structure fence there, so I just trying to say this, we're gonna put that's a 6 feet, a wooden fence, privacy wooden fence on all the area.
But this is it's a chain link there, but you're saying you're going to a wooden fence. I'm not trying to.
Actually, it's already there what it is, the wooden fence. So I was thinking that we have to, just replace it for a new one and stay like.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. And the reason I asked that.
But definitely, I have to replace it, for.
It's not a condition. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not a condition, right? So I just want to make sure staff, it's not a condition, and I'm not trying to make it a condition. I'm just asking a question.
Yes, so the fencing type, wood wouldn't be a permitted fencing type, but a vinyl wood that simulates wooden fencing could be. So a vinyl fence could be permitted.
And the reason I'm asking about the fencing is because now, as stated earlier by planning and zoning, that I too was under the understanding that landscaping equipment, and now we've got mulch and other stuff that could be a possibility on the grounds. And I'm trying to make sure that we have a decent look.
Okay.
So that's why I'm asking about the fencing. And then now, if we're having mulch and everything of that caliber out there and selling that, how would we protect the look, the landscape, even though you're selling landscaping equipment and stuff?
Yeah, actually, the mulch is not gonna be. Actually, the mulch is not gonna be just like on the ground.
Okay.
It's gonna be just
Packaged
on
mulch.
the bin blocks.
Gotcha.
To separate those materials.
Got it.
So it's not gonna be like this, put it on the ground and just grab it. So eventually, it's gonna have, like
It's gonna
a
be
decent,
packaged,
like
or
a decent.
are you saying it's gonna be packaged or something?
No, it's gonna be by scoop yard. It's gonna be this like without any package, but we're gonna sell some packages from Home Depot as well, like all the regular mulch there.
But what I'm getting at though, and maybe you can help me with this, is that I just want to make sure that the aesthetics,
Yes, sir.
that we have a decent look with all the equipment and mulch and anything else that stored on the property, so it won't look from an eyesore, I guess, what I'm concerned with.
Yes, sir, and the requirement to submit before the Development Review Committee would require the applicant to prepare a site plan that neatly outlines where the outdoor display is, the means of ingress, egress, vehicle circulation, and then the outdoor storage area as well as any landscaping requirements along
So
veterans.
we'll capture that somewhere down the line, because I don't want to miss that part of it, because we've got a lot of unique stuff that's on that Veterans Memorial layout, and
Yes, sir.
aesthetic is not a great site in most cases.
Yes, sir. I believe that the requirement for the Development Review Committee explicitly calling that out would require the applicants to prepare that site plan, so we can define those areas. So that's why we recommend the special use permit, even if there was a legacy outdoor storage use, so we can entitle the use, but also neatly define where that's going to be, and then bring it up to code in terms of like surveillance if required, landscaping, and all those other screening elements.
So staff is confident that the conditions will cover aesthetics, will cover, and the other conditions that you guys are speaking of here would at least it won't become an eyesore, basically.
Yes, sir, I believe so. We didn't include the typical condition for the
Fencing.
landscaping as required under the quality growth overlay, but we can definitely include that for additional landscaping to heighten that up at Veterans Memorial Highway.
If you would, and I don't know if the
Yes, sir.
applicant would agree to that.
Yeah, I agree on it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, well, okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And I yield back, and thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, board? Okay. Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Just for clarity, because I know where you're going. Yeah, I'm assuming you're having equipment on the property, which is going to be like a Bobcat, a dozer, all that to load. Skid steer. Yeah, so that's the yeah, come on, Mike.
Thank you.
So that's the reason you need the permit, because you're going to have like a skid steer to
Yeah.
be parked there to load all your mulch and everything, but from your block bins.
We're gonna have deliveries.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have a single truck there, so they can load them up and just kind of deliver it to clients,
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Just,
And that's pretty much it.
yeah, I was just stating that for clarity,
Mhm.
so that, a better understanding from what
Yep.
you have there.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. I yield back to you, Chairman Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on special use permit S2026-09?
Mr. Brandon Penn, I make a motion to approve application S2026-09 with the conditions as read in by staff.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Rob Thomas, I second that.
A motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
My apologies. It was my understanding that the quality growth overlay landscaping requirements were requested as a condition as well.
Yes.
So I'd be happy to read that in if you give me just a second to look those exact counts up.
Okay, we need to read that in the record.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay. So I believe if you just refer to the quality growth landscape standards, that would cover it, and we can take the.
Mr. Brandon Penn, I make a motion to approve application application S2026-09 with the conditions as read in by staff and the quality growth
Landscaping standards.
landscaping
required
standards required
under the quality growth overlay.
under the quality growth act.
Yes, sir.
What he said.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
It's Rob Thomas, I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor of approving S2026-09 as read into the record, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chairman, S 2026-09 comes to you with a recommendation for approval.
Okay, thank you so much. Board of Commissioners, you heard the discussion. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve item S2026-09, and with all the said conditions read in by staff, the 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. Thank you. Congratulations.
Best of luck to you going forward.
Thank you so much to everyone.
You're welcome.
All right. Our next agenda item, please, I believe, are the UDC development amendments.
Yes, sir. This is our last agenda item as well. So these are the map amendments proposed. GIS has updated the zoning map for your consideration that shows the 49 parcels identified that are uncontested. There were previously 60 parcels with 11 parcels contested. So we took those contested parcels off, and these parcels presented before you are the ones that were uncontested. And staff used the methodology of selection based on the rezoning date, vesting period, and existing conditions of the property. The vesting period is 24 months from the date of approval. So we took a look around the character areas of the Dog River, Bowie Reserve, Rural Reserve, and historic Lithia Springs, and looked at those parcels that were approved for rezoning but never vested. So took a look at the historic Lithia Springs area. These were 29 lots identified. And with historic Lithia Springs, we inherited this map from Lithia Springs when their charter was dissolved to where the zoning was incorporated and from this hand drawing. And the similar color of the M1 and the PUD makes staff believe that there was a mistake, an administrative mistake. And so the properties selected are ones used residentially without any occupational tax certification currently, and not outfitted for commercial uses like with a parking lot or things of that nature. And the remaining parcels, I didn't include the list, but I suppose should I include it? Yeah, we have the map. Yeah. Okay. So we would just be asking for your approval of the map with the 49 uncontested parcels as presented on this zoning map. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions. That concludes my presentation.
I'm sorry?
Oh, sorry. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought. I was looking at the map here. All right. At this point in time, I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of these rezonings, please approach the podium. No one approaching. Close the public hearing in favor and open the public hearing in opposition. Anyone wishing to oppose these zoning changes, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and then you have 2 minutes.
Yes, I'm Mike Redding, 2381 Lee Place. I came before you last in December meeting. I have that parcel 015-202-5011 at 13991 Veterans Memorial Highway, and I was opposed to changing the zone and didn't know the status of it. I didn't know if it was in this part of the 49 or the ones that were approved. It was redlined on the last meeting.
Okay. Okay, once the public hearing is closed, we'll address that. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one moving, I'll close the public hearing on this matter, and, okay, now we're back to discussion.
Yeah, so that was one that we had identified as as a contested parcel, and so we removed that from the list. And so any of those that were contested, they're going to keep their current zoning for the time being. We will confer with each of the district commissioners that had contested parcels to understand how it is their will to move forward. It is possible we could do a special called meeting and address those all at one time, or we could just work with the individual property owners to put them on agendas, you know, going forward as we have space permitting. But anything that was contested, we did not change the zoning on that. So the only thing presented here tonight are the 49 parcels that, you know, notice was given and the property owners raised no objection.
Okay, and I'm looking, what I'm seeing is here, looks like most of these are down zonings from commercial to residential, so that'll be a plus for the owners.
Correct. Generally speaking, that is what most of them were, you know, is where it was either a commercial or industrial that never vested, or in some instances, we think the map was just proactively adopted, you know, with the anticipation that it would flip to commercial uses over time. So, but most of it is a downzoning. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other discussion, Planning and Zoning Board? Hearing none, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it to the Board of Commissioners for any discussion you may have.
Any discussion, Board of Commissioners? Commissioner Rex, no?
Yes, just a quick question, Allison, is if there is a way, we don't have to do it tonight, but just to get a breakout by district of the 49.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can absolutely provide that to you. Most of these are going to be concentrated in districts 3 and 4 because we started with those character areas. And then going forward, our next area that we will take a look at is traditional neighborhoods, which is that is mostly that area surrounding the city of Douglasville in the middle of the county. And so that I think we'll start to get more of District 1 and District 3 in those. But for the most part, it was District 4 and District 3. Maybe a few in District 1 that we saw with this one, but we can absolutely provide that.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. Madam Chair, you have the floor back.
Thank you. Vice Chair, I believe.
Just to, Alice, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Because some of those, you know, have emailed us and we requested for them to reach out to you for planning and zoning. So just making sure if, say, one of them failed to do that, but yet, you know, they've contacted our office, because we don't see or everything that's in here in regards to those plot numbers or parcel numbers. What will we do? Will we have to go back and reinvert those back if for some reason one actually was missed and slipped through?
Sure.
What will we do there?
Yeah, I mean, so again, we would always have the option of doing a map amendment, right, of kind of adopting a whole new map like we're doing here this evening. But we have also in the past brought parcels through if it turns out that there was an error that the staff made in, you know, making a zoning map amendment previously. We can bring that through kind of administratively as a staff requested change if it's determined that that was something that was changed that otherwise shouldn't have been changed at the time. So we have the ability to do that so the applicant doesn't necessarily have to go through that process themselves.
Okay, all right, I yield back, Madam Chair.
Any other questions, Board? Okay, I yield back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Planning and Zoning Board, you've heard the discussion. Do I have a motion on the UDC amendments?
This is Rob Thomas. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the UDC amendments read in by staff.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the adoption of the UDC amendments, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Madam Chairman, the adoption of the UDC amendments comes to you with unanimous recommendation for approval.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman Simmons. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the questions and answers. Do we have a motion regarding the UDC amendment?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the UDC amendment with the updated zoning map as presented by staff.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries for approval of the UDC amendments.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Having nothing else to come before the Planning and Zoning Board, I'll declare this meeting adjourned.
Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to adjourn? Okay. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.